I will do one more race, and then I will boot up the Adin Ross interview with Donald Trump, actually to, in part, drive the point home just how little material Republicans have. I mentioned earlier, Donald Trump had a conversation with Elon Musk on Twitter Spaces. Absolute disaster from a technical perspective and from a PR perspective. He just gave the same speech he's given a million times. And, it's truly pathetic that Trump is relegated to a point in his campaign where he's so desperate that he's willing to come back to Twitter, a site that he swore off based solely on pride, and engage with Elon Musk, a guy that he really doesn't like, just to try to become relevant again, to try to get more clout in the political space, and to try to, in some way, hang in there with the absolute monster of a campaign that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz have been running by comparison. Nice. Now that that race is done. Yep. Hammer. Cool. Next race. All right. Let it be known that I am content pilled. This interview is long as fuck. But I'm a man of the people. And this is content, so let's fucking go. I'm going to set this to, I think... I'm going to set it to 1.15 times speed.
What's going on?
Well, today is going to be...
What's going on? What's going on?
So, Adin Ross interviewed Donald Trump. This had an interesting format that I thought was worth taking a look at. I will not be covering the Elon Musk conversation / interview with Donald Trump because I watched that shit live, and trust me, it was boring as hell. That's all you need to know about it. Trump didn't say anything that we haven't heard before. He probably is going to only say stuff that we've heard before here. But this is content because I also get to shit on Adin Ross for being retarded. Continue.
Today is going to be the most important thing. We're going to get some good ratings. Everyone thought this was going to be fake.
Also, I should mention right off the bat, this is also a pretty big, like, desperation move by Trump. Because in a similar manner to how, like, Trump was relegated to, like, more and more niche spaces such that he's sunk to the level of doing an interview on Twitter Spaces. He also went to kick.tv to Adin Ross, which is a friendly crowd, not somewhere that you would typically want to go for campaigning necessarily. I mean, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But also, most importantly, the audience of 500,000 that this did draw is mostly people who are too young to vote. So it's not going to do much for Trump either way. And the fact that this is Adin Ross is going to just put people off. Like, there's not much in this interview that could gain Trump support, but there is stuff in this interview that could cost Trump support. It seems to be a common theme of the Trump campaign. The audio is really quiet. I'm gonna have to address that in a moment.
It's all very
Trump's mic is really quiet. I don't know if that's I don't know if that's gonna pervade the whole interview. I'll see if I can address that. Eh. Okay. Let's go to the audio levels here. How
great kid. Amazing.
Oh, it's barely picking up. Okay. Let me turn this up so I can hear it more, and let's turn this up to -12 point something.
Very tall.
Good student.
Yeah, he's very smart. I'll tell you that. I do want to first off, say this. Everyone in the chat, everyone loves you, and just want to say you're a true hero for this country, and I really appreciate you. And yeah.
Let's put it at -16. That way it's a little bit quieter than me, but you guys can still hear it, hopefully.
That's great.
I think Donald Trump's mic is just really quiet.
I do. So do you know what live streaming is on these platforms?
More or less, yeah. It's the new wave.
It's the new wave. It's the new wave. I'm gonna explain it to you, all right? So I'm gonna show you this chat right now. Let me show you this. So this is the live chat. So
Now this is gonna be funny. This is Donald Trump interacting with well, Kick Chat, which is a much more degenerate version of Twitch chat.
you already broke the website in 5 minutes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you broke it. The chat wasn't working, but we ended up fixing it. It's just very slow. Yeah. Yep. So they're putting W's and stuff. W Trump. All right. So yeah, everyone is just super thrilled.
I think J and L are my advanced and backwards buttons.
You think so? Oh, I'm excited. I'm thrilled. Elon actually already he commented on X post that I went live.
Right?
Yeah, it's great.
This is before they did the interview on Twitter, or the conversation, whatever, on Twitter.
Yeah,
Everything.
he's great. So let's get started today. Let's have some fun. We'll touch base on some topics, and then we'll do some fun stuff. Cool? Let's have a good time. All right. Well, the first thing is, the reason why I really want to make this thing happen is a lot of people are first-time voters now. And I want to make it very clear to everybody that you're a human being, you're a great human being.
This is
Talk in this camera. Talk to them and explain why it's very important as a first-time voter to go out and vote and why they should vote.
I'd love to do that. I haven't done that. I'm not.
Oh, jeez. All right, this is so Adin Ross has made clear there's an attempt to sort of get the youth vote out for Trump. On Adin Ross's part, I guess, like, cool, I guess, but, like, at the same time, it's fucking dumb. Like, young people are overwhelmingly left-leaning, and Adin Ross's audience overwhelmingly is people considerably younger than 18. They're not going to be able to vote in this election. Out of the 500,000 people that watch Adin Ross, I can't imagine more than, like, 5% of them are adults. Which would be what? Let's see. 1% of 500,000 is 500. No. 5,000. Thank you. 5%, that's 25,000. And a lot of them probably don't know shit about voting either, so you might get half that. So might just stay home. A lot of them probably aren't registered. They'll say, fuck it, who cares? This is, And I should also add, anybody who's watching Adin Ross, already friendly to Donald Trump, already on the right. If they were voting, they were already going to vote Trump. Like I said, this doesn't have much potential to gain Trump any support. It's just going to cost him support in some areas, or be like net neutral. Ultimately, I think there is still enough of a not like respectability politics. That's not quite what I want to get at here, but enough people know that Kick is an absolute degenerate streaming site that they're going to be like, the fuck, Donald Trump streamed on Kick? Damn, the guy must be desperate, Because that's the live streaming site that's, like, known for advertising gambling to kids. Like, really great political image that you're cultivating, Fascists are winning over the gullible, gambling-addicted children. But maybe not even then. Who knows? Ah, dang it.
American dream right now.
There we go.
Country not respected. A little while ago, market explosion in a negative way. That's been happening quite a while. It's been simmering and really happening. For
This is
quite a
all the
while.
stuff we've heard
And
before.
we're going to make this country so strong and so great. And when you're ready for a job, you're going to get a great job, so you can make the kind of money this guy's
No.
making.
God
Maybe
dang
even
it.
more if that's possible.
I'm trying to get like you, boss.
Adin Ross
you'll-
does make a lot of money.
You'll love your life and you'll be successful. And at a young age, it's really wonderful to think about the American dream. And with Kamala and Joe, I took him out. We had a debate, and the debate didn't go so well for him. And what they did, it was really a coup with somebody.
Yeah.
14 million votes. He had it.
He's so mad he misses Joe Biden, dude. Okay, I gotta pause to analyze this. Okay, let me bring my keyboard over here so I can have my finger on the K key. Okay, this has been an interesting, like, theme lately of the Trump campaign. He is so mad that he's not running against Joe Biden anymore. Trump really wanted to go up against Joe Biden. This was a common theme even in 2020 and 2016. Trump and the Republicans wanted to go up against Hillary and they wanted to go up against Joe Biden because they were the weakest possible opposition to them. You know, they represented the best chance that Donald Trump had at winning the election. In the case of 2016, Trump actually won. In the case of 2020, he didn't, but, you know, let's be real, that shit shouldn't have been as close as it was, right? And in 2024, now, this year, Trump debated Joe Biden, and it became very clear that not only was Joe Biden the weakest candidate, he was basically a guaranteed loss for the Democratic Party, which, you know, that was reflected in the debate performance. Everybody knows that. The Democratic Party quickly got wind of that, and Trump was so mad that the Democratic Party did something that they're objectively allowed to do, which is switch out Joe Biden for somebody else because he was only the presumptive nominee. He was not actually the nominee. You know, there was still, like, the convention technically hasn't happened yet. So he's campaigning as though he's still running against Joe Biden because he doesn't have anything else. He doesn't have anything on Kamala Harris. I mean, he has his typical refrains, crooked Kamala, sleepy Kamala. He hasn't done that one. Crooked Kamala would probably be the best he can come up with. But, like, that's not sticking. It's clear the Republicans don't have a very good line with which to attack Harris and Waltz right now because they're, you know, everything negative the Republicans could say about Harris or Waltz would make them sound good, you know? In fact, in many cases, they probably make them sound cooler than they actually are, in terms of political positions, but
Focus on this one.
he's trying to wish cast Joe Biden back into the race because he wants to run against an old man that's frailer than he is.
And all of a sudden you're fighting somebody else, but she's actually worse than he is. And you're starting to see that. I think people are going to see that where it's going to be very evident.
If
So
she's worse
go
than
out-
he is, then why are you so mad that Joe Biden's not in the race
We
anymore?
want the American dream. We're going to give you the American
wonder.
dream, and you're going to be real happy. Thank you.
I have another question, and again, Mr. President, you know, I'm not really fully into politics, but you know, I'm getting there, and I do want to make this very clear as well. It's on my mind. You know, back when I was in, I went to high school in California, okay? And you know,
This guy, by the way, Adin Ross, if you don't know who this guy is, like, fucking who? I don't blame you. In fact, I envy you. But he's known for being Andrew Tate stan, and also for sniffing Andrew Tate's chair after he was sitting on it. In fact, he does that in this interview, if I'm not mistaken. When Trump gets up, he sniffs the seat, whatever. And that's like what he's known for. NBC described him as a chair sniffer, and they're not wrong.
The teachers were basically at the time, you know, this is what your first thing. They were telling me how horrible a person you are and all these things, and the teachers, you're not supposed to do that. It's inappropriate to have teachers, you know, discuss politics in school. But it's becoming really normal for a lot of teachers, you know, and you're a kid, you know, when you're a kid, your brain is like a sponge. So I want to know what your thoughts on that, you know, kind of corruption in the school system in a way. You know, they're teaching some pretty bad stuff in there.
It's been brainwashed. Even the teachers have been brainwashed. They've learned from.
I'll take... Well, maybe that happened. There's a lot of teachers don't like Trump, that's for sure.
But this liberal way that they have, and it's a bad thing for them. You know, we want to have border.
Also, love the immediate resurgence of grievance politics, right? All the politics they have is, I don't like this person or this group of people. I don't like XYZ group of people. I don't like teachers. The teachers are too mean to Donald Trump, right? Like, teachers fucking trying to make a living out here, same as everybody. The politics of the right are just the politics of, like, I don't like this person, therefore they're evil and hate the country or something, you know? And of course, it's also characteristic for the right wing to, like, attack education. The right wing has never liked the concept of education. They love the idea that they can have control over children as though they were chattel property. It's why they oppose public education in general. It's why they spend so much time talking shit about public school teachers. You know? In fact, one of the funnier Republican lines was that there's a cabal of teachers unions that controls politics. That was like, I think they said that during the RNC. I was like, yeah, great, very funny. The underpaid teachers are the ones really driving the show. But, you know, yes, teachers technically aren't supposed to talk about politics, but occasionally you get an offhand opinion about, like, something so milquetoast that it shouldn't be, like, considered that big of an indicator. You know, I think every teacher and school administrator with half a brain would probably fucking let that slide because Trump hates every fucking teacher and school administrator wants to cut all their paychecks, unless they're a Nazi like him, in which case he wants to give them all the money.
We want to have low taxes. We want to have great schools, really, great schools, so you can go.
This is the typical
learn
line.
And be successful and have a wonderful life and all of that. But we want to have a good military so we can protect ourselves.
Of course.
From some bad players, you got some bad players.
More stump speech stuff.
And it's interesting. During my 4 years, we had no war. Other than we had nothing. Everybody was afraid we were going to have wars.
We were still in Afghanistan during Trump's administration. Worth noting. Also, Trump brought us closer to war. There's a very high bar for war breaking out on the US's part in any given area of the world, but Trump really fucked up the relationship that we had with Iran. Pulled out of the Iran nuclear deal, called in an airstrike on Iranian General Qasem Soleimani, and that basically destroyed any chance of America and Iran having a non-confrontational relationship for a long time. Which is not good. And it is not a war started, but it's much closer to that than any sort of de-escalation, which is also not good. And of course, Trump's position was also one of he was pro-Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, one of the most fucking bloodthirsty countries in the Middle East. He escalated things in Yemen, and he was very conciliatory towards Israel, whose entire policy repertoire seems to revolve around antagonizing other countries in the Middle East. Just for fun, just for the hell of it.
Yeah. And just the opposite, North Korea. Remember Barack Obama, biggest problem. Big nuclear.
Oh, but he's talking about North Korea.
The only war we had was already started long ago, and that was ISIS. We defeated it very short, very quickly. And we had no wars. That's a great thing. Really, 80 years. And we won't have wars again, but we could have a war before we even get there.
What is it with both the Trump interviews? He sounds like shit. He sounded like shit in the in the Elon Musk conversation as well. But here his mic levels are just way too low. Oh, big idea. Watch this. Didn't get a trick. That's unfortunate. Here's a straightaway. Here's a straightaway.
Soon, and I guess 5 months before you end, a lot of damage. All right. Saying that the country's not only a stock market depression.
Nobody gives a shit about the stock market.
Israel's blowing up.
The stock market is fake, guys. It's just gambling and hype. It's fake. It's fucking nothing there. There was a stock market crash a few days ago, and now nobody cares. The average American doesn't have jack shit of a stake in the stock market, and it's not based on anything real anyway.
The Middle East is blowing up. Russia's going wild.
It's just a very complicated graph of rich people's feelings, and that's it.
We have nobody that knows. I was watching when Russia was thinking about going in, and they never would have done.
In fact, the stock market has an interesting habit of going up when working conditions worsen, because that means the bottom line increases. When the bottom line increases, rich people feel pretty good. That means the stock market goes up. The vibes are good for the rich people. So when conditions get better in America, the stock market tends to go down a bit, because that means there's more union organizing and rich people's fees are hurt. So. But that only extremely loosely correlates to certain increases and decreases sectorally speaking. Broadly, it's just all garbage and doesn't mean anything one way or the other. But it is interesting that Trump's trying to tap back into the neoconservative lines about economics, about tax cuts, about the stock market and whatever, to try to appeal to people's senses of number go up. I don't know if it's just one of the many parts of his stump speech, or if he kind of recognizes that, the social issues are really not gaining Republicans any ground.
After I got it, they started loading up the board.
I don't know.
He was doing it for negotiation purposes. And Biden said all
It's just the stock market and the tax cuts were the issues that were so unpopular that the Republicans actually had to start fronting reactionary politics to hoodwink people into supporting that. And now he's just going to that,
Wrong thing. Everything wrong.
presumably to distract from the
Ultimately, they
reactionary
attacked.
politics.
We wouldn't have done that. We got to get back in and get it straight. We'll get that.
100%.
A lot of people dying.
Yeah, it's a lot of innocent lives being lost. You know, you had mentioned
Was he talking?
stock market crash. I don't know if you obviously, I saw the post you made on Truth. You know, what I just saw yesterday and the day before, you know, I'm in crypto, I'm in stocks myself. And
Boy, oh my god, he's a crypto bro. Dude, it's too perfect. He's every flavor of
I wanna
retarded.
ask you, you know, how do we basically get it back up and flowing, and back up and running, and you know, and what's causing this?
Well, right now you have no confidence. You have somebody that now is taking over. Biden just wants to stay all day. He wants to stay there. No, it was a fraud. They tried to tell people he was competent, what he was. And in the debate, he was adjudged to be not so.
Yeah.
But you can go back 4 years too. He campaigned from his basement. He didn't campaign. He said, "Where is this guy?" During COVID, they used COVID as an excuse not to let him talk.
Yeah.
The whole thing was a fraud, and everybody knew it, and they knew it strongly. And we're going to get it going again. We have to get it
Classic
going again.
COVID denialism, I
Put us
guess.
in a very bad
I don't know.
position. The worst thing probably.
It's interesting to me that
Came in.
it's interesting to me that Trump and some of the Republicans have started to latch back onto COVID denialist lines, specifically in regards to like reversing certain health policies, or just that they haven't like let go of stuff like vaccine mandates. A lot of their politics are just centered around spite and wanting people they don't like to die. Yeah, I don't know. Like COVID was decidedly not a particularly winning issue for Republicans because of the way that they treated it. And it seems like they're still latching onto that. They just don't have anything affirmative to say, really. Aside from, I don't know, we need tax cuts. Like that's a policy position, but
Into our
you know,
with open doors.
not good one.
And then he come from prison. And you can be a liberal and people can be coming from some of the meanest prisons all over the world, not just South Africa.
Damn, they're so
all over the
mean.
world. From the Congo and Africa, they come. All over the world they're coming. And they're releasing their prisoners into the United States. Now, you can be a liberal guy, you can be progressive as anybody in the world, and you can't think that's a positive thing. They're coming out of mental institutions. They're pouring into the United States. And
Oh yeah, this is a funny bit. Trump literally thinks that seeking asylum means that immigrants came from an insane asylum. Which is not how that works, but it is funny. So true, bestie. I don't want to waste too much time debunking everything that Trump says. I've already wasted a decent chunk of time. But no, you know, immigration's pretty good, actually. Backbone of every first world country, which is why Britain is tanking so fucking hard.
and they're hurting and damaging.
Because they've decided to block immigration.
And the crime
you know.
rate with what you're talking about and what we're talking about, we call it migrant
that,
crime.
crime rate?
It's a new form of crime, and it's a very violent crime, and it's going to take on proportions.
Immigrants
like some
commit
countries.
way less
So
crime than American
and
citizens,
remember,
by the
these
way.
people are
Like
getting accustomed.
immigrants who
These
are not
people
citizens.
coming out of mental institutions, prisons, and
Like
jails,
we have data on
and
this.
many terrorists.
A
We're
lot
having
of
record
data.
numbers of terrorists coming in. So I'm talking, I assume, mostly to a young audience, but a young audience, no matter where they're coming from, they can't be happy about this.
No, they can't. Jobs are being taken. A lot of crime. You know, so what, President Trump? What do we do to fix that issue? How,
So
what if-
wait,
what if-
which is it? Are they criminals or are they taking people's jobs? You know, you can't get a job if you're a crook. Like it's way fucking harder to get a job if you're a criminal. Like they'll just say shit, blatantly contradictory shit.
You know, I happen to be born in.
And also, all the jobs that immigrants are getting are jobs that no fucking American wants to work anyways, right? Like being a farmhand out in the field. Dude, Americans jerk off the people who own the farm so hard that they don't give a shit about the farm workers. You know? And like a lot of the lowest paying jobs are the ones occupied by immigrants. They ain't taking jack shit from fucking, you know, like an American citizen. If anything, they make the economy grow more and they make opportunities more abundant because they contribute by spending money in the economy. Like that's how economics works. Countries benefit from immigration.
The country, and I want to come the right way. how would that work?
Well, that's what we want. We want people to come in, but they have to come into a system, a legal system. You know,
They are coming in through the legal system. They're just getting imprisoned
hundreds
anyway.
of thousands of people that have applied to come in, and this administration doesn't talk to them.
Right.
But if they walk through the southern border, they have no problem getting in. I don't even know why they're doing this. But some people are waiting 10 years to come in. They've studied, they learned all about the United States, about our Constitution, about everything, and they're not being let in, and we're allowing people to come in from really rough places, and they come in through caravans.
Damn, that's so true. We shouldn't let in the people who need a better place to live. We should only let in the people who already have the education and resources to not need to move anywhere else to begin with. I wonder which set of countries could correspond to these two archetypes being constructed. I wonder if there's any sort of racial dynamic or geopolitical economic dynamic that would dictate which kind of immigrants that Trump views favorably versus the ones that he doesn't like as much. You know, curious.
Caravans have 10, 20, 30,000 people, and they're pouring through Mexico.
It's crazy.
And Mexico was great when I was there. They were helping us. I had to stay in Mexico. You can't come into this country until we approve you. They gave it up. Now they just walk right in. They had catch and release.
I got 'em.
Catch and release. Since you catch a criminal and you release him into our country. I said, no. We catch a criminal and we release him into Mexico.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
You know, it's
Sure, man.
There's so many things. They
Again,
are
you can
so
just
bad,
say
it's
shit.
like amateur night. It's either amateur night or they want to destroy it.
Right. Do you what do you think about what's going on?
He just okay.
The whole situation out there.
Trump just spelled out plain as day one of the like most essential talking points of fascism. The enemy is both strong and weak at the same time, right? Like if I rewind a few seconds and then like play it back. Let me get around this corner.
Bad. It's like amateur night. It's either amateur night or they want to destroy it.
There you go. It's either amateur night or they want to destroy our country. They're either weak or strong, but like both at the same time. In the same breath, about the same group of people, immigrants, it's amateur night, they're weak, or they want to destroy our country, they're strong. Like they're trying to have both of these in the same picture. Granted, he said or, but like they believe both of these things. They already talked about like how like, oh, immigrants are all criminals and they're taking our jobs and whatever. Again, a contradiction, but like, you know, they've already talked about their menacing part, and now they're talking about the like their weak part.
Right. Do you what do you think about what's going on in Venezuela? The whole situation out there.
Well, I know it very well, and Venezuela is right now.
Great guy, Venezuela, John Venezuela. They call him Juan Venezuela. You know, great guy. Met him in person, but he's got a lot of problems. Let me tell you, he's got a lot of problems. Mario Kart Wii fan too. Thank you for the follow. I don't know if it was the Trump impression or just the general content that I'm covering, but thank you. Would you buy from Coconut Mall if Mr. Beast gave you $10,000? That's easy. A better taste in places to shop. Thank you. I will be here all week.
Being run by
I don't know, probably clothes.
Enemies with
Look if I know, dude.
Venezuela was going to collapse, and people could have gone back to Venezuela. They were in our country.
Red sports car? You think you could buy a sports car on $10,000? Jesus Christ, that doesn't even get you a quarter of a regular ass car in America. I don't fucking know what I would do with $10,000. Probably move out and start paying rent somewhere. Looking for a job. Car prices from 2008, buddy. Even in 2008, you couldn't get a car for $10,000. You get it like 20,000 maybe. And it has been used. Used car maybe, but not a sports car. I actually don't want a car. If you can believe it, I don't like cars very much. But yes, you know, have the red sports car. Go for it. Make your monthly payments and shit. I prefer e-bike. That was the jankiest shortcut of all time, but I made it work. Jankiest rail section of all time, but it makes... Oh, yeah, you're sure that, like, the crappy red sports cars, like in Coconut Mall? Yeah, I got you. Coconut Mall does not have many straightaways. Okay, this is a good opportunity to lose him.
Tremendous numbers of criminals into our country. If you look at Caracas, it's known for
Caracas?
being a very dangerous city, and now it's safe. In fact, the next interview we're doing in Caracas as well, because it's safer than many of our cities after criminals.
No.
You know, I'm kidding.
I know.
You know, the reason I have to say that because the fake news, you know,
Okay.
he suggested they go to Venezuela.
Yeah, okay. He's finally doing the like for legal reasons that's a joke or whatever. Not for legal reasons. Like you have the right to just fucking lie in America. Like you just do that. There's no real penalty for it, but like I think even Trump realizes that he can't really with a straight face say that Venezuela is a safer place than any city in America. In fact, cities in America are some of the safest places in America. Rural communities are some of the most dangerous fucking places out there. You go out to the sticks, you might not come back alive. Like, holy shit. You know, if you die, who's gonna fucking know about it? Anyways.
They are so bad, it's hard to believe. But anyway, so Venezuela, their crime is down 72%.
Venezuela,
because
many
they've
such
taken their
cases.
Criminal elements, which are large. It was a very dangerous place, especially Caracas.
Big crime, really big.
And
A
they've
lot of
moved
criminals,
into
big
the-
criminals. Some of the biggest I've ever seen. That's, you know, such a big criminal. They don't grow them that big in the United States.
They are. They're right over there. Hey, mom, hey, dad.
Are you thrilled with what they're doing?
Oh my fucking god. Bro. He brought his parents to this shit? Oh, dude, this whole family is pathetic. They're all Trumpers. They're all part of the fucking cult. Now it makes sense, that comment about school. I was like, you know, for Adin Ross sometimes, the dude's young enough that I was like, fucking Christ, how did this guy turn out like this with the people in his life? Now I know, because his parents are also massive dipshits.
I don't think they're thrilled. I don't think so. So their crime rate is down 72%.
Right.
Because they're drug dealers, they're criminals, they're murderers, they're rapists. Everything's being moved into the United States. And soon they will have moved all of their criminals into the U.S. They won't have crime. So that's why I say we'll go to Venezuela for our next election.
Yeah, true. Very,
It's a
very real
serious
thing
problem.
that
I mean,
definitely
honestly,
happens
what
ever.
they're doing to this country, they're destroying our country, Aiden. They're destroying stupid people. He's not a smart man. He wasn't smart 35 years ago. He wasn't smart 20 years ago. And now he's really not smart.
They're
You
destroying
saw that
stupid
from the
people? That
debate.
sounds pretty good,
He's
actually.
really gone down the tubes. And she is, look, she couldn't even pass her law exam. She couldn't pass her bar exam. And I'm not saying that because I know other people didn't pass their
What
bar
was
exam,
it?
but she thought she'd never be able to pass it. And this
Talking
is
about
who we have
Kamala?
running our country. It's a shame. She's ultra left, ultra radical. I just see where 99 vicious terrorists, when she was, I guess, Attorney General, because she was Attorney General of California, she destroyed California. Her policies have destroyed California. Her policies, when she was the district attorney, have destroyed San Francisco. San Francisco was the best
course.
city in our country 20 years ago.
You,
Now it's, not even, frankly, it's not even livable. We have to bring our cities back. We have
damn,
to
that's
focus on
crazy. You
bringing
should
our
tell
cities
that to the hundreds of thousands of
actually
people
really
that live
sad.
in San
I lived in
Francisco.
California for a long time.
I'm
Even
sure
though
that would be
Los
news to them.
Angeles, It's not safe. It's not safe. Everyone I know that
Really?
lives in multi-million-dollar homes that do what I do. It's not safe.
It's not safe. Source, I talked to my friends who are also multi-million-dollar homeowners, and they said they're paranoid about, like, I don't know, a black person fucking their girlfriend or something. Like, what a fucking joke, dude. What a fucking joke. Yeah, it's not safe, and my source for this is I pulled from the statistically most paranoid and racist demographic that you can possibly find anywhere in the country. Homeowners who are worth millions. Like, yes, great. Thank you. Love that. Give me an item. Yes. Oh no. Fourth place?
They're getting robbed. They're getting robbed. The police don't really, they're not active out there as they are in some other states, and it's really sad. And I agree. I saw a video in San Francisco.
Oh yeah, for sure, dude. Police definitely don't care about when a fucking rich person is ever a victim of a crime. Definitely, police are just kind of I mean, the police will sit with their thumbs up their asses if somebody gets shot in front of them. But like, they're fucking paid to care when a rich person's fifis get hurt. You know, that's why police always break strikes and shit. You know, basically, yeah, Alex, I'll take things that never happen / don't happen for 400.
Oh, where people just walk into a Louis Vuitton and an Apple store and just loot, and leave like nothing ever happened. It's crazy.
They loot and
Damn, you can just make shit up, huh?
$1,000 or $1,500, which she
Again, Adin Ross is a live streamer on Kick. Over under odds on whether he leaves his house at all.
started, where she won't even prosecute if it's less than $1,500.
Wow.
So you see these people go in with like calculators, and they're adding the stuff that they're stealing because they won't be prosecuted. So that if they get nabbed, they say, no, it's less than whatever it is, $1,000.
Right.
And she started the concept of that, and it's now spreading. Our country, we need strong leadership. We didn't have stuff like this. You know, when you look
We
at
need
what's
strong
happening to this
leadership
country,
that
you
I
look
can
at other
definitely
countries,
provide
crime
being
rates all over the world
70 fucking something years old.
because they're all
Goddamn.
dumping their bad people, their prisoners, and all of
Dumps?
the people that are bad.
Big massive dumps
Not
even?
only, not only people on the
Bro,
streets,
that's
people
crazy.
that are in jails. You know what they save by doing that? But they're dumping their prisoners and their criminal elements. They're dumping them into the United States of America, and our
Nice
crime is
snipe.
going to go
Thank
through
you.
the roof. Go through the roof, and you know, if we win, and I hope we win, we should win. We seem to be winning, and you know, you can't even imagine that anybody would want these. This has nothing to do with me. Who would want these people?
We're Reds. Yeah.
But can you imagine? They're just getting comfortable now, and they're criminals. So they're sort of laying low a little bit. They're not comfortable. Soon they'll be comfortable, and they'll find that our police they're great.
Yeah.
But they're not allowed to do that. They're not allowed to.
Talking
Be
about
strong, and
police
they're not-
immunity?
They could do their job if they will, but if they
The
do their
thin
job,
blue line.
they have their pension knocked out.
At a time when
They have their
people
car
are
taken
as
away, their
critical
family
of
taken away,
police
their
as
house
they've
taken
literally
away.
ever been,
Everything's taken away, they lose their
like
job.
in history,
It's
probably.
a very rough thing being a policeman today, I'll tell you. But they could do the job. We're going to have to let them do their job. We have
This is in the wake of police like shooting and killing an unarmed black woman who's like clearly not mentally well. And Trump was like, yeah, the police should have immunity so they can do their job. In the context of that event specifically. Oh, this is 5 laps? This is pretty long as 5-lap tracks go, you know?
a crime
Unpause.
infested. We're a drug
Okay.
addicted nation, and we're a crime infested nation. Other than that, we're doing quite well.
Yeah.
Do you think the traditional idea of having to work in order to live is beneficial in any economic model? If not, what do you believe should replace it? How should that be implemented? You know, that's a question that I've like grown less and less sure of with time. I think the more I read on it, the more I think that like working should not be a requirement. Like unquestionably, I think that people shouldn't be forced to work just to survive. All the evidence that we have shows that when people are compelled to work when they don't want to, that can have some pretty adverse mental health effects, right? It makes people's lives worse. But, you know, there is also a good bit of evidence to believe or to support that people want to work in some capacity. People are not idle creatures. People typically want to be out and about and active and contributing to society in some way, right? And I think that's enough of a current that you wouldn't need such a harsh like enforcement mechanism of people, you know, being forced to work. But ultimately, I think the current employment model, if I had to take a stab at the question here, of like work or die, should be replaced with like a anarcho-syndicalist model with a welfare state. Basically, like we have the technology to work way less than we do currently. We don't need to work as much as we do. So we shouldn't. We should be a lot better about distributing what we have. That's part of why people are so overworked, is because they are working not for themselves, but to slave away for their boss and the corporate overlords and all that, who make like hundreds of times more than they do in a year. And that like that shit needs to stop. If you were to take all the wealth in society and restructure society such that it were way better distributed, you would only need to work like 20 hours a week, if that. Like, maybe not even, right? So I think that, like, you know, if you have a workplace model that's owned by the workers, you have some form of, like, anarcho-syndicalism, right? Where unions are the government and all the workplaces are owned by the people who work there, then that would be a suitable replacement, you know, for the current model. Assuming you also have a very strong welfare state in place, so that if you don't have work, your life doesn't immediately fall apart. That's one of the biggest problems with American society especially, but all capitalist systems, is that your livelihood is to some degree tied to where you work. It's almost like feudal fiefdoms, but instead of a county or a duchy or a set of polities and cities and whatever where you're tied to a place of work, right? And you can't leave for fear of, like, death by exposure, essentially. So basically, socialism would you know, a good model of socialism would be equitable enough that, like, or rather would be efficient enough that we would only need to work half or a tenth of the way we do. I've been waiting to ask you for some time, having needed to catch you live. Oh shit! Oh, okay. I'm glad I was able to answer. Yeah, in fact, I want to, at some point, there's a video segment that I kind of wanted to make. Maybe I'll do, like, a second take of it, where I wanted to explain, like, socialism is actually pretty simple when you get down to it. And it, you know, it wouldn't be, like, it'd be hard, for sure, to implement a lot of these systems, but it's definitely possible to have a much better model of economic organization. There have been pilots and experiments and whatever where this has been tried, and it's seen some success. We have data to this effect. You know, obviously the very large experiments have kind of blown up in people's faces, the Soviet Union and the Eastern Bloc, to whatever degree you would, you know, consider those socialist or not. But, you know, I don't want anybody to succumb to the idea that this is the best things can ever be, because they can be better.
I want to move topics a little bit here. You know, I saw...
But now back to the interview. They're going to move topics.
I'm unfamiliar with exactly what it was called. You were speaking on stage with 3 other women, and you just got ambushed. They were late.
Oh, this was the Black Journalists of America or something. There was a conference of Black American journalists, and there were 3 Black women who were interviewing him at this conference. And he fucking Trump was this was one of the things that makes me say, like, yeah, Trump is just gonna hemorrhage support and whatever, because he fucking pissed off this room full of not just black people but black journalists, like probably some of the most respected figures in like the place where they live. Rightly so. Journalism is hard work. However many flaws American journalism has, you know. And Trump is just going off on them, like, you know, attacking the interviewers for unfair framing of questions, supposedly, or whatever. You know, and frankly, I would object even, you know, the way that you asked me the question is really unfair and uncharitable. You know, that sort of shit.
And not a hi, hello, how are you? Just straight into it, just straight trying to rip you apart. And I think you handled it pretty well, but I wanted to ask you a question, like,
also, I wonder if there's a policy or set of policies that Trump supports that could potentially make I wonder if there's a policy or set of policies that could potentially alienate a predominantly black audience from supporting Trump. I wonder, you know, it escapes me. It's on the tip of my tongue. You know, some sort of supporting a racist policing system or something. You know, something along those lines that would make him not too well liked in the black community. The man's racist.
Yeah. Well, I did this as a favor. This was
also, I think that's the
room had maybe 2,000. It said 2,000. It looked more like 1,000.
Yeah. And of course, because he's Trump, he always talks about the crowd size.
They had journalist. I don't know. I didn't know who she was.
I believe this was the event where they talked about the shooting of that of that unarmed black woman in her own kitchen by a actual like skinhead of a cop. I believe he had some like fucking white supremacist tattoos or some shit. And he in that context invoked that, yeah, you know, police should have they should have immunity so they can do their jobs, and by do their jobs I'm referring to when they shot an unarmed black woman.
She was nasty. She was a terrible person. And I walk in, and instead of saying, hello, thank you very much for doing this, they also said, Kamala's going to do it. But then Kamala said, she wants to do it because she can't talk to people. She can't answer questions. She hasn't done one interview. You know, she's not doing any interviews.
Yeah.
Because if she did one interview where hard questions, she's incapable of answering. But
Projection much? Trump dodged a lot of those questions too. Kamala's been campaigning. I think she has I don't know if she has done that many one-on-one interviews, but that's because she's been going to rallies that are absolutely jam-packed. You know, it's a different kind of campaign event sort of thing. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like oh, she hasn't been campaigning. She's been in the basement like Joe Biden, Sleepy Joe, Crooked Joe. But he can't really say that because she has been campaigning. So instead he's like, she hasn't been doing this specific type of campaigning that I've been doing. Like, okay.
I walk in.
People have
this
different
woman starts
strategies.
talking about.
And I, for one, think that Kamala Harris's strategy is actually working a lot more than Trump's is. You know, so one of these might be, you know, a little bit of a losing strategy in the moment.
She talked about let's get rid of the elephant in the room, and she starts talking about racism and everything. I said, you didn't even say hello to me, and I'm doing them a favor by doing this. I'm doing this out of respect to the black community, and
you should be grateful. You, the black community, should be grateful to me, Donald Trump, the CEO of American racism, for fucking agreeing to do this interview at an association of black journalists. What a fucking what a goober.
Getting record numbers, as you know, in the black community. And she came across, you know, she's with ABC Fake News. And she's one of the worst. ABC is one of the worst.
Right.
And she is horrible. So she was very nasty. Harris Faulkner was there. She was excellent. The other person I didn't know, she was okay. I wouldn't say
Trump
she
100% is just saying this because
But I did
ABC
it,
said something
and it was
critical
quite
of
a
him one
sensation.
time.
Actually, a lot of people think it was well handled. The woman was so rude.
So rude.
That, you know, it's hard to believe. You can walk into a thing, do him a favor. And
Yeah, sure. Just
Most people
repeat the
say,
shit
"Why
that
you-"
he says. Yep.
I feel I have an obligation. I want to look with it. You become the president for
Good shit,
all
E621.
of them, not for a certain segment.
Correct.
Not even for just my, you know, they talk about my base. It's a very big base. But you become president for all of the people. So I feel you have an obligation to do that. Now, she's not doing anything. She's not doing any interviews because I don't believe she's capable. She's the whole thing is strange.
Just
Let's put it
saying
this way.
shit.
Our country's
Sure.
in big trouble.
Yeah. I spoke to your son, Don Jr., when I met you in Doral.
Right.
I spoke to Don Jr. a little bit. He said, man, I feel for the young generation. You guys are, look at this. Look what's going on here. Like, it's like you need this next 4 years. If not, he's like, I don't know how well the country's gonna do after these 4 years.
I don't think it survives. I really don't.
Yeah.
Look, we're going to have 20 million people in by the time this election takes place. 20 million people. That's bigger than New York State.
You know, it
Many
is
of those people are
interesting.
people that you should not have, and we're all for everything.
It is interesting to note that a common point of agreement on the far right and people who are not on the far right is that, like, it seems to be a very, very pivotal time in American politics right now. Like, you know, for very different reasons. I mean, obviously, people on the far right are more looking at this from the angle of the day of the rope and, you know, gassing all the undesirables and shit. But, like, there's instability in the air, and I think that for once, the Democrats are actually also able to recognize that, truly recognize it, as opposed to just alluding to it. You know, because the temptation for a lot of the Democratic leadership to be like, oh, we live in uncertain times, and then act as though there's nothing uncertain about the times that they live in, you know, act like they've always been acting. The temptation for that is very real, I think, among the leadership there. But, you know. And, of course, Donald Trump is approaching this from the perspective of making this more unstable, because all of Donald Trump's policy positions are shit that would fucking rip America to shreds. Not even like joking. Gorge Wart, thank you very much for the follow. Yo, what's up? I go to your channel and you're streaming so good and so compliment. Well, thank you. I'm glad that you enjoy my streams and stuff. It's always nice to have a new set of eyes watching. Let's let's go. Why did Google Chrome open? This is not the Google Chrome show.
All men are created equal, as the expression goes.
Of course.
And now today they say all men and women are created equal. When they wrote that, it was slightly...
Damn.
Today that alone is a political...
The Constitution has gone woke. Can't even say all men are created equal anymore.
All of these criminals and all of these...
I mean, it's also...
all of these people into our country.
It's also funny that he's saying this because he doesn't believe all men are created equal, and he also doesn't believe that this should apply to women, because his policy positions, first of all, are incredibly racist, you know, so not all men are created equal. Obviously, I'm better than everybody else, especially the black men. Probably what Trump is thinking in his head. And then also, like, so much of Project 2025 revolves around the concept of the family, which is really just how do we keep women barefoot and pregnant and like in the kitchen. And it's like they can't help themselves but do a nice little, a small to medium sized Freudian slip every you know, every once in a while for the fans. So, you know, I appreciate that, certainly. Yeah.
Really hurting badly. It has to be, we have to take very strong measures.
Definitely do. We definitely do. Moving to the next. Oh.
Oh, I didn't know they were allowed to applaud.
Yeah, they're allowed to applaud. You guys can keep applauding.
All right, common sense, right? You know, it is about common sense.
Why are they applauding?
Because whether you're conservative, liberal, it's all about
I don't get it.
It is.
You want to have good education. You want to have
common
borders,
sense,
you
the
wanna have
vibes.
low interest rates to be able to buy.
The vibes are great. The vibes make the vibes great again. Common sense is a very common, like, nothing talking point that the right engages in. Because, well, like I just alluded to, number one, it doesn't actually mean anything. But then number two, Republicans really don't have much, if anything, going for them. So it's like, you know, they have to justify their positions by invoking some sense of perceived normalcy. Which, again, is why the attacks calling them weird work so well, because they, like, when that sense of normalcy is attacked, their entire identity as a movement falls apart. You know? So, you know, very much not a common sense thing, but also common sense just means whatever they want it to mean.
Buy a house, you want to, you know,
Or
some
whatever you want it to mean.
But
You
you
can use
gotta
that
have
shit if you want.
common sense, and we're run by people. And you know, just a little thing. When I started campaigning,
We are run by people. That's you know, that's true. Many such cases. We're run by people. Nobody knew about this. That's crazy. They're just telling me about this for the first time. This country's run by people. Chief viewers? Sorry. Banned. Also, wait. Hold on. Splash. Ban? Splash. 888. Soliciting. I did a thing! Nice. I didn't know you could actually spell out the reason when you ban somebody. Nice. Yeah, I have a no soliciting policy in my chat. No, none of that stuff. Especially not scam shit. You know, no bueno. We don't like that.
almost like 8 years ago, I talked about Merry Christmas. We should have Merry Christmas again. Let's bring back Merry Christmas. Just
Let's
like,
set it to
no one allowed say
1.25
Merry
speed.
Christmas. I got it back. Yeah.
Bring back Merry Christmas. Oh, please.
It's a nice crap, huh?
Even if
Please let them bring back the war on Christmas. It would be so fucking funny.
you're Jewish, they like to say Merry Christmas. Every one of my Jewish friends say, we love Merry Christmas.
I'm Jewish. I love Merry
Good,
Christmas.
and
too.
you know, Kamala doesn't.
She doesn't like
no,
it?
She doesn't want you.
Bro. My apologies to the Jewish community for having to have your reputation as some of the smartest and funniest people on planet Earth be stained by the likes of Adin Ross. You know, if anything, Adin Ross is proof that a lot of Jewish stereotypes are wrong because he's neither intelligent nor funny. Unfortunately. You know, you can say the same thing about a lot of Israelis, you know, Bibi Netanyahu, but yeah. You know how it goes. I'm not good at the TF input on Bowser Bike.
You use Merry Christmas.
Wow.
She thinks it's insulting to use Merry Christmas, so we'll have to work on her.
I wanted to ask you a question. Speaking of, you said something about common sense. Someone who has no common sense, Joe Biden. Do you think he was pushed out, or do you think he made the decision to step down?
No, he was not only pushed out, it was a coup. I'm telling you. They went in to see him, did badly. The debate was...
Okay. His use of the term coup is doing a lot of work here. He mostly just wants to downplay the severity of his actions on January 6th and whatnot. You know, he wants to normalize that as much as he can and banalize it and whatever. But there is a rare kernel of truth to that. Joe Biden was functionally pushed out of the nomination by the Democratic Party. I mentioned this before, that, like, Joe Biden was trying to stay in a way that was incompatible with the type of candidate that he was. Joe Biden, towards the end of things, was, like, trying to play the part of the, like, only I can fix it candidate, but he doesn't have the charisma of Donald Trump, you know? And Joe Biden ultimately did say, like, all right, fine, I will step down gracefully. You know, I'll step down with some dignity. But Joe Biden stepping down was happening whether or not he agreed to go because of how, like, how the nomination process works and shit like that. And ultimately, that's just something the Democratic Party is allowed to do because they're a private org. They set their own rules and policies and shit. Unfortunate crash. But calling it a coup is pretty ridiculous. It was just kind of like, all right, Grandpa Joe, you gotta. They basically had the talk with him where it's like, you can't drive anymore. You gotta like relinquish your license. I think
It was a disaster.
It was horrible.
Okay. I don't know if I was brilliant or if he was horrible. Maybe it was a combination of both.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
I know one thing. They were saying after I left, I said, you know, that was one of the greatest debate performances we've ever seen. And then 2 days later, they just said he was terrible.
Right.
No, they never gave. They
Right.
took away the great debate.
he's saying a lot of the same shit here that he said in the Elon Musk conversation, by the way. Greatest debate performance you've ever seen. Nobody was saying that, but everybody agreed that Joe Biden got blown the fuck up because he can barely function anymore.
Debate performance stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, but no, I mean, I did fine, and he is.
Also, bro is wish casting so hard.
He was a terrible president. He was the worst president we've ever had. She's, by the way, considered the most unpopular vice president we've ever had. But she's she's worse than he is.
This is the most
I actually
old
think
man
he's smarter
Yowie
than
moment
her.
in American
And I think he's
politics.
a
He
really
wants
nice
Joe
person,
Biden to be the
but I
other
think he's smarter
candidate
than she
so
is.
bad.
But she was convenient. She was there. They have better people. I mean, they have much better. In fact, all of the people that she's looking at are considered much better than her. These were people that were thinking about.
It seems
running.
like
They
since the
would've run,
beginning, the audio has
except
mostly fixed
that
itself, so I'm
they didn't
turning
wanna
that
go
back
through
down a
this
little bit.
roadblock with her. And, you know, because you're the vice president. So they wanted to go pick him. And I think virtually every one of them is considered better, smarter, would be a better president.
All right.
But we can't allow her to be president. She's going to destroy our country.
She'll ruin it. I mean, already
Go back to
it's ridiculous. what
Wi-Fi?
she's saying.
And by the way, the youth is so important because youth tends to be Democrat, and as they get older, they become Republican. That's what's happening. We can't wait 50 years.
That's not true, actually.
Make the move now. All of you young people, and he's got a lot of them. All I know is
That's not true, actually. The trend, the political common wisdom of people grow more conservative as they age is not real. For some folks, it's possible that their parents were like already conservative and got leached down the pipeline, the far right pipeline. But generally, what happens is not that people become more conservative, but rather society becomes more progressive. Society moves to the left. People don't move to the right. Not generally speaking, anyways. Especially not like as they get older. In fact, what's weird is that if you ask people their positions on social issues, old people are pretty fucking progressive. You know, there's a weird middle territory of like upper middle class boomers and Gen Xers and some millennials now who are Hitlerites, not gonna mince words, But then, like, retirees also kind of a stronghold for Trump support. But no, that, you know, that just doesn't hold. The political conventional wisdom of you get more conservative as you age. That's not real. That's not borne out in any of the data that we have. Not reliably, anyways.
My kids say, Dad, you have no idea how big this interview is. I said, don't tell me that. But make the move now. Don't wait 50 years. Our country doesn't have 50 years.
You know, that's crazy to think about. I want to ask you a question. She did a rally.
Also, it is interesting to note that Trump does a lot of apocalyptic framing. This is one of the ways that Republicans are capitalizing off of political instabilities. They use a lot of apocalyptic framing. I explored this a bit in the video about Trump giving that speech at Turning Point USA, where, you know, they are actually at the RNC, I think, where fascism is very frequently a game of superlatives. This is kind of like that, speaking in superlatives, and it's very in line with cult language that it can't just be bad, right? Things can't just be not the way we would like them to be in America for 4 years. Everything has to be apocalyptic levels of threatening to maintain the fervor in a fascist base of support. Trump can't just be a good candidate. He has to literally be the second coming of Jesus Christ, complete with the everybody trying to persecute him and him dying for your sins or whatever, you know? And the whole, like, we're not going to have a country in 50 years. He's not talking about anything that would actually be a threat, like climate change or fascism, because remember, he's the fascist. He's talking about, like, some nebulous concept of Democrat, crime, immigration. As a result of all these things, you know, we're not going to have a country anymore. We're just not. It's going to be shameful, absolutely shameful. And you know, only I can fix it. Only I can bring about heaven on earth. Because that's the fascist endgame, is like heaven on earth. But the way they want to do that is through, like, purging all the degenerates and whatever. It's a very kooky, like, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs kind of analysis of politics or worldview. Very spiritually driven, very religiously driven, and very cultish. There's a reason that religious cults, or rather, like, religious sects, and religion and fascism have such an overlap in history and in the modern day. You know, they don't call it Christian nationalism for nothing.
A rapper twerk at a rally. Yeah. A rapper was twerking at a rally. Yeah. I want to know your thoughts on that.
People be twerking.
It's crazy to me. They think that they could be twerking at a rally.
Speak of degeneracy, here it is. That's you know, this is one such example of degeneracy that right-wingers so love to comment on, is you know, twerking, because that's, I don't know, originated from, like, black culture, I guess, or something like that, or it's, like, associated with black people for some reason, and they're like, what, it's black, and it has, you know, it's like got sexual undertones, as do most dances, but, like, we've recuperated most other dances into white culture, so we'll fix on this one, the dance that we deem to be more black seeming as degeneracy. This is getting a little bit more removed from the direct thing that Adin Ross is saying, but suffice it to say that he is just fundamentally saying, like, oh yeah, twerking, like, degeneracy, fucking, you know, it's a sad state of our culture that people are twerking at political events. Fuck it, I want to see more of that shit. You kidding me? Get the crowd hyped for something. You know? These guys are literally like the bad guys from Footloose. No dancing allowed.
Well, what Hillary did is she would go out and get Bruce Springsteen. He'd get much smaller clothes. And he had a guitar, right? I don't have a guitar. but he would fill up the place, and then he'd finish, and they'd all leave, and she'd be speaking. So now, Kamala's doing the same thing, because nobody wants to go. Nobody. I mean, she speaks for, like, short. Nobody's going to want to watch it. And nobody does want to watch. Now, at least there's a little bit of, but there's no value really in going and watching it. So what she did is she's gotten a couple of rappers, and they fill up the place. But what she does is a little bit different. She has them go last. That's smart. I give. So in other words, they want to finish their speech, get the hell off the stage, and then they can listen to the rap.
Performance starts.
No, it's pretty.
It's kind of smart.
Hillary did. No, I give her credit.
Yeah, give it to her a little bit.
Hillary never figured that out. She'd get some star, and the star would fill up the place, and then.
This is the best that Trump can come up with. He's complimenting Kamala Harris.
So they would leave, everybody would leave, and she's talking to an empty stadium. Yeah. Anyway.
I don't want to, I mean, I was going to comment on this could be some sort of, like, political strategizing move, but ultimately I think he's just riffing. He's probably just riffing right now. I don't think there's anything like meaningful behind it.
This is a little better idea.
Yeah, I wanna move on to the fun stuff now. I think we've definitely talked on some.
This might
ideas
be
and, policies. Excuse me.
what I was
I
thinking
want
of?
fun stuff because you are a fun guy.
No,
You are
that's
a lot
later.
of people
Okay,
who you
okay.
are. Especially Dana. Shout to Dana. I know you're
Oh,
watching.
Dana.
Yeah, he's the
There's
greatest.
nobody like him. I always say
Is it Dana
everybody
White?
can be replaced except Dana. Because this guy travels the world looking for fighters. Okay, get me fighters.
Yeah,
He
this
doesn't
is
care where they-
CEO
from
of
countries
the
nobody ever heard of.
UFC.
And that's where he finds the best fighters. Now
Yeah.
he cannot be replaced. He's truly great at what he does.
He's the coolest. I know you're a UFC fan, right?
Yeah.
Who are like your favorite fighters?
Well, I think Khabib. I mean, how good? Do you know who Khabib is?
Of course I know Khabib is.
Khabib was 29, I guess.
I don't know shit about the
28.
UFC. All I know is that it
His
involves a
father
lot
died
of brain
last year.
damage,
He
so
never lost-
Republicans probably love it because they're also brain damaged.
Like, he fought many times. He never lost like a pound. And I thought he was a great. I got to meet him at a fight 2 fights ago. Because I walk in with Dana. Sometimes I do this walk in.
Yeah, that's where I first met you.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
If I didn't get any applause, you wouldn't want me on the show. You said, "Forget it." No, we get big applause. We walk in together.
It's crazy. You shut it down.
No, I met Khabib and he was very, you're the man that can stop the war because he's talking about war with Ukraine, Russia.
Of course.
Because he knows they're his people.
I wouldn't have let the Russia-Ukraine war happen. I would have given Putin everything he wanted, and he wouldn't have invaded.
Cities are coming down. They're just pouring bombs in, and he really. It was amazing. We weren't talking about fighting.
Trump will probably say something way stupider, but that's what he actually
And
would
he
have
was
done.
Very concerned about that whole thing, that war. He said,
And Putin would have
"Stop."
invaded
And I gotta
anyway.
get it stopped. I will have that stopped before I assume. I will. If I win the election, first thing I'm going to do.
Worst possible
is
outcome there.
Putin,
That item
and
set.
Zelensky. I know them both well.
Great
and
guys,
get
great
them to
guys.
make it
Putin
happen, because
is
it's crazy.
It is.
It's crazy.
It is, and that's.
You know what's interesting? Trump used to be like, I think he used to be a lot more lukewarm on Zelensky, but now he's like, has to, I think he realized he has to be a little bit more positive because Zelensky is very well liked on the American public. Or maybe he's just like, some turn of events happened where Trump viewed it now as like politically beneficial to him to be more positive on Volodymyr Zelensky. So he is.
It's like your rallies, the crowd, huh?
I know. I like this crowd. I think it's good.
Yeah, it's about as big as his rallies too. If you've seen the crowds there, it's getting smaller and smaller. Which, look, Trump cares about that on principle. I think it's interesting, or it's indicative rather on a level that there's not as much political enthusiasm for Trump as there used to be. He's not able to inspire the kind of fervor on the right that he used to be able to. There are some people that have been alienated from Trump since he became president in 2017. Some people have only gotten further in. But the truth of the matter is that the Trump, like the cult of Trump, is very well formed. He's not drawing in new people from the outside. And sometimes even the people that are like supportive of him aren't going to everything. There's not a whole lot of energy in the Trump camp right now, if that makes sense. Like if you were to gauge the political enthusiasm of Trump voters versus the political enthusiasm of people who are likely to vote for Kamala Harris, then you'd be able to see that there's more enthusiasm for Kamala, and it seems like the enthusiasm is building. Whereas Trump has already peaked in terms of the kind of popular support he's able to command in politics.
No, they are though. They're people that want to see the country.
But like I said earlier, he's all the Republican Party has. So they have to ride with him until the like very bitter end.
That's it.
It's people that just like they don't want to see crime. They don't want to be mugged, because it's selfish. I respect it. But they don't want other people to be mugged, beaten up, shot, and killed. In Chicago, on July 4th weekend, they had 117 people shot. Think of this. 117 people were shot 17 days. It was in one weekend, July 4th. I mean, nobody wants it. If you're living in Chicago, you have a good chance of something bad happening. When you're going to go buy a loaf of bread.
Chicago's actually pretty damn safe.
So we don't want to, and they don't want that. People behind.
All cities in America are pretty safe, or at least most of them. There are some cities where the Republicans are in charge that are actually not that safe because, wouldn't you know it, their policies, Republican policies, inspire much more socioeconomic anxiety and tension, which leads to people being more paranoid, more distrustful, and more inclined to antisocial behavior, which includes crime. Meanwhile, cities that are more left-leaning are much less inclined in that direction. There's still, like, obviously anywhere you're going to have a lot of problems with income inequality and stuff, but the socioeconomic antagonisms are worse in rural areas and in conservative controlled areas than they are in areas not controlled by conservatives and in more urban environments. And there's a lot of literature to this effect. There's a lot of data. You can go look at some very basic per capita crime statistics and find that Chicago and New York are actually way safer than somewhere like, I don't fucking know, Topeka, Kansas, or like, you know, Rockbridge, Virginia, or any given small town in America. Way more dangerous than a big city.
They're great, but they're like other people.
Because it's more
They want
isolated
crime.
and
They
a
don't
lot
wanna go to
poorer.
wars. They
A lot
want
more
to make
unequal.
money. They want to be able to have a good life. They want a great education. All the things that you want, just the basic things, and we don't have that now.
It's really sad, honestly. And
Well,
I know,
think of this, Israel.
And of course, he wants America to not provide those things as well.
It would have never happened.
He wants to get rid of the Department of Ed. He wants to get rid of, like, a lot of the welfare programs that we have.
I wouldn't let anybody buy oil from Iran. As soon as Biden comes in,
He wants to. He literally wants to crack down on affordable housing. Him and all the other Republicans.
And I wouldn't let them do. I wouldn't let them. Nobody. China. I said you buy oil from Iran, and you can't do business in the United States.
So all
I
the
said,
appeals that they do that sound like they're to
But I did that
real
with everybody.
things
And we would've had
are
a deal.
disingenuous, like
100% we would've
to the
had a deal.
highest
And there
degree.
would have been no attack. There was no money left. Iran had no money. We would have made we would have made a fair deal. I would have loved to have made a fair deal. I'm not looking to. I just want them. They can't have a nuclear weapon. It's very simple. They can't have a nuclear weapon. They cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. So what happens is we worked very hard on that, and then he comes in and he allows everybody. China now is buying millions, billions, and billions of dollars, and Iran now is a very rich country. And October 7th would have never happened. And it wouldn't happen because it didn't.
That's true. There would never have been the day October 7th. It would, folks, you would have gone to bed on October 6th. You woke up, it would be October 8th.
The recent attack
They
on
would
the
skip the
Parkway.
day entirely.
That was so graphic. So, you know, normally you don't see that. Normally the media cuts it off. They didn't have time to. It was during the day, very public. And you'd see children with their legs cut off. Those initial scenes. So far
What is he
were
talking about?
landed in a little soccer field. Just terrible. All of that stuff would have never happened. And we'll get it stopped fast, by the way. We'll get it stopped fast. No games.
I will stop the
everyone
wars
that's watching, everyone behind.
by doing
just know
nothing.
Your vote really does matter.
Woo, yeah.
You guys really have a big decision coming up in November.
Yeah, all like 30 of them.
Vote for the right person.
Wow, that's done well.
Do a little alley-oop there.
You know, it's funny that you do, but now I know why you're so popular, because I've been on for years with people that really do like me, and they're even fair to me and everything, but they wouldn't do what you do. They wouldn't say, vote
Oh,
for
no.
me. They do. They're short of that. They wouldn't, and they do, and they vote for me, but they wouldn't say it. I think it's great that you say something like that. I think it's ethical, it's fair, it's smart. And if you felt that way about somebody else, that's okay too. But you know, you have journalists today,
Nice.
like that one that intercepted me, literally. That was like a booby trap. I
They're
walked
so
in,
unfair to me. They're all very unfair to me. This is the persecution complex at
Thank you
play.
very much for being here.
No.
Just like the worst. And frankly, if I owned that network, I would fire her so fast. It was so inappropriate. And I actually,
Man, the horrible things I would do to people if I owned
walk out there, you
the
pick
business
it
where
up,
they worked.
and you actually give less information than what you would have. They did it with sugar, right? But she doesn't know about sugar. That one. It was sort of terrible. It became viral, #1 viral.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was the question that was viral. I think my answers were sort of good.
They were really good.
I think they considered to be.
I had great
Well,
answers, the
contemporary,
best
but they were
answers
considered to
even.
Be very good. But the level of hatred,
This is like-
craziness, and you don't know, is that from the head of the network, or is that from her? But ABC.
There's almost
has
like
said for a
nothing
long
here.
time,
He's just riffing
ABC
and
is what- You
rambling.
have George Slopodopoulos. I don't know if you know him, but he's a nasty guy.
George
You see,
Slopodopoulos.
He interviews Biden. I said, "There's
I kinda
no
like
way
that nickname. It's
Biden
kinda
can handle
funny.
this guy if the guy is like normal,
Right.
like he normally is."
Yeah.
He was so nice to Biden. He asked him this, and then when Biden
Yeah,
couldn't
Trump-
answer, which he can't
Trump gets really fucking offended at even like really softball questions.
answer most of the questions because he has no clue where he is.
Genuinely kind of pitiful.
Slopodopoulos is giving him the answers. He's giving the question. And isn't it true that you really don't want to see war? Isn't that true? Yeah. No, the whole thing is crazy. Anyway.
I want to real quick talk about one thing. It was super important to me when I saw it. Censorship. You know, I don't know if you saw what Elon had posted. Elon basically showed if you were to Google Donald Trump about a week ago, all you see is Kamala. That's all you see is Kamala. It's crazy. Google was really trying to push it.
So Google is really crooked. It's horrible. When they had the word assassination.
Again, I'll go top 10. Oh, he's talking about the
I got
assassination?
whacked. Yeah, right. I got whacked. And whether it's me or anybody else, it's terrible. Terrible.
First of all,
our country was terrible for everything.
with regards to the
When you put up
Google,
the name,
like, supposedly suppressing search
assassination,
terms,
It went to Lincoln. It went to many
top
other
10
people.
things that didn't
Many of them I
happen.
didn't even know
You know,
it was an
Google
attempt
doesn't
at
suppress
assassination.
search terms
The
for
only
shit
one
like
didn't
that.
was Trump.
Usually the oops, drifted the wrong way by accident. But then also it's funny that Trump's really ass mad that nobody fucking cares about like the assassination attempt on him anymore. That was like the least important thing to happen the past month and a half. You know, like, oh yeah, you know, the president was assassinated, but or the president was almost former president was almost assassinated, but look at all this other shit that happens. Nobody cares about the assassination attempt, dude. You know, like it's even stopped being such a talking point with the Republican base too, which is pretty wild. But yeah, it's just funny that he's ass mad about people not caring because like he can't handle it. His ego's a little bit too fragile for that. Third place? Cool.
And when you put up the word assassination, it also sent you to Kamala. And people were really angry at it. Look, something wrong with it.
Again, top 10 things
I
that
don't
didn't
know if it's the
happen,
people
Alex.
running it inside,
For
or
600
all
this
the
time.
people, so to speak, the people that are actually doing the nuts and bolts. I doubt it. It's got to come from the top. And it's so illegitimate. They have to do something about it. And
Also, Google favors the Republican Party. Should have mentioned that. Google donates money to the Republican Party, as do most big businesses. They wouldn't do that. They would probably they don't usually engage in such direct interference like that, but there's usually soft incentives for them to prefer certain narratives over others. Yeah.
I mean,
But you rarely see that.
market speaks. Everybody should maybe just go off Google, not use it. There's so many other things. Watch your show instead. But there are so many things. No, Mark Zuckerberg called
Well,
me.
Google did get hit
and
with
he
an
apologized.
antitrust
They
suit
actually had it
recently.
where, you know, AI is dangerous. It's going to be with us, but it's very dangerous. They actually had the Secret Service agents were very brave because when I was being shot at, there were 8 shots. And as soon as they heard that first gun, I did
Talking about the assassination attempt again. I don't
know,
care
when you hear
about
bullets, you
this.
tend to
Nobody else does
stop before
either.
you're intelligent.
Of course.
You're not intelligent. Like, I don't think Joe would have dropped to the floor. I think it's,
No, I think you would have just been like, what's going on?
hey, what's happening?
What is that?
Where are those bullets
a
coming
bird?
from? Oh, there they are. There they
Yeah.
are. No, I don't think he would have dropped to the floor.
Right.
But anyway, it's when you hear this and when you see what's going on, and he called up, and there's a very iconic picture that was taken. But there's a number of them actually. But there's one in particular that was very iconic on the covers with the fists up, and the secret agents, service agents, and you know I know they're going through a little bit of questioning. Let me tell you, these people were brave because those bullets were coming at me, and I heard them. They were whizzing over my head. I had the one here. And I went down, and they were whizzing over, and I had 7 people, maybe a lot of people. A lot
Dude,
of
everybody has triple reds
on top
right
of
now.
me
What is going
within
on?
Seconds, and a lot of people that I know would not have.
Ah, come on.
They would not have done that. Aiden, I'm telling you, when bullets are coming right over you, and you got people willing to. I asked a couple of them.
A
they
bullet
expected
bill.
to die.
See.
They actually expected to die, and I understood that. Yeah. The other thing that happened that was amazing is within 5 seconds, the sniper, Secret Service sniper, from a much further distance. One bullet.
Recounting the
And didn't know
assassination
about
again.
that.
There's nothing
It was a
super
communication
interesting
problem.
here.
And had it
I might
taken place
even
10 seconds earlier, would have been good. But there was a communications problem. But he
I might even fast forward to like a point
I don't think the
where
sniper knew anything about it. He may have heard there could be a problem, but he didn't know anything.
they're not talking about this because this isn't that interesting. You know, when I said nobody cared, I included myself. I also don't care about this.
And one bullet, and if he didn't shoot him, he would have had probably a lot of people. Probably a lot of people that he had a lot of bullets up there. He had a powerful gun and he had a lot of bullets up there. And the reason he stopped was he got hit 5 seconds. That's a pretty amazing job when you think, you know, it's sort of a surreal experience.
Yeah.
And you could say that. And they go years and they don't have to do that. They don't have to shoot people. And then all of a sudden they're confronted and they see somebody.
I got hit by something.
Let's call in and find out what his reaction time, I think, was. So there was a big communication problem, and they'll get that straightened out. But the Secret Service people were very brave. And that's
Three mushrooms.
very talented to hit the target, hit a target like that from so far away.
Right. You know, Mr. President, I do want to say, first of all, you took a bullet. Everyone in this room, everyone watching, everyone.
He died for our sins. I died for your sins, except I didn't die.
Isn't gonna do that. They're gonna either remain, you know, where they are. You are a brave man. You stood up and went like this.
God damn it.
Pretty.
No, fuck. I knew that green shell was coming. Why do you do that?
Say, though, that the audience was very brave also, the fans, the people. And it's
All right, I'm going to actually fast forward to a point where they're talking about some shit that isn't the assassination.
That's good.
I'll show you, another gift. I'll show you, the second gift a little bit later. But I did get you a gift, and I got you this gift because, look, you are, I feel like you constantly get beat on, but you're so strong, and you just...
Dude, he got him a present? Bro is fucking proposing to him or something. What the fuck?
I hope you, watch his Rolex.
What is this?
Beautiful watch.
Yeah.
Should I open it?
You should open it, and then show the camera.
That's a great watch, actually. Good company. They're good company.
You like Rolex?
They like Jack Nicklaus and Gary Player and Arnold Palmer and all the...
You got him a Rolex.
And the
Cool.
Nelk brothers and the Nelk boys.
All right.
They asked me to do their show, and I will tell you, I got a tremendous response. You do some of these big shows, you do like 60 minutes, and nobody cares. You do Nelk or you...
The classic streamer
and
screen.
I can already see so many people go, I hear you doing the show with Adin.
Oh, wow.
I
What do we got?
I've had a lot of calls, but numbers aren't...
To react to.
Okay.
So this is the fun. To react.
Okay, this is
Thank you, man.
one thing I will agree with Adin Ross on is that this is going to be the fun part probably for me as well. He's the format he's going with here is like I'm going to show you pictures of people and like tell me what you think of this person. It's an interesting interview format. Is it geared to fucking like 10-year-olds? Maybe, but you know, everybody likes seeing the pretty image and you know, easy conversation starter. Like, you know, no framing or nothing, just a picture of a person who is relevant. And then, like, what do you think of them? And I thought this would be nice to comment on this part of the interview. Ooh, a golden mushroom.
This is my voice, you know.
Yeah.
And it's doing great.
Yeah.
Everybody should go on True.
Yeah.
But I will say that I put you
Damn it.
on that we're doing the show. And the response was...
I love it. I love it. Okay, so shout out to Nelk, but they kind of gave me this idea. I have 2 segments I want to do with you.
Okay.
The first one is use one word that comes to mind to describe that person. Okay? It's a fun game.
Fun.
Let's start. All right, who is the first picture? And we got the Nelk boys. One word.
Great.
I love that. Okay,
Really?
great. Okay.
So you're friends with them?
Yeah,
Are they competitors?
not even, honestly. You know, every time that, I speak to Kyle or Steve,
Yeah,
it's just
they're-
only
they're
love.
all-
They're really
No, they're
good.
just great.
Yeah.
But in a way, you would be competitors. You don't even-
They're more bigger on the YouTube side of things. I'm more live, so it's a lot.
see.
It's a
I
different
see, so
world,
similar.
but it's kind of like parallel.
Look at them. I mean, they're just great people. That was Dana White who said, you got to do them. I said, who are they? I didn't know.
It's funny that Trump thought of like other people in a similar business and thought like competitors.
Well, I can just tell you that...
That's just kind of like the
one
divide
word
between
that
the old business world and then
my
like
sons told me
internet
about
stuff.
you, and, you know, they told me about how big Dad is.
Yeah.
Daddy, really big. But what about else? So he's also a friend of mine.
Yeah.
But big stuff, Aiden.
Right.
So I just have to say, outstanding. To do what you've done at a young age, and I know how old you are.
They are of course glazing each other, as such as the obligation of the fascists and whatever. I don't fucking know.
Thank you, Mr. President. All right, let's see who we got. We got you.
Patriot.
There you go.
Joe Rogan.
Interesting. He really is. He's an amazing guy. He's a very interesting guy.
Because he didn't want to say anything negative about Joe Rogan, because probably a lot of people in Adin Ross's audience also watch Joe Rogan, or at least a decent chunk of them do. You know, right-wing cranks tend to cultivate a similar audience, especially when they're massive dumb fucks.
Well, he's a fighter. I'll tell you, that guy, he fights.
There's a more extensive version of this segment, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, there is. Okay.
There's a good one. Elon, a genius, truly a genius. You know, I see the rockets come down.
Soy glaze. Of course, he fucking uses genius because again, overlap between people who like Elon, people who like Trump, and whatever. The man is phenomenally stupid. It's genuinely impressive how dumb Elon Musk is. You know, not just like dumb, but also uncharismatic. And, you know, he's many things.
with
None of them good.
engines, and they're coming with engines. They have no wings, no nothing.
Oh shit, they got
That was
bombed.
A couple of years ago. I said, what is that? And I said, what was that all about? I said, well, we want to be able to save the engine, not that they go into the ocean and all. But he really is. He's a genius. He's also a good, very good person. You know.
I got him, but I got
He's
myself
very
too.
complicated. Let's say complicated. Because he is.
Kanye.
He can get himself into trouble, and he can get some other people. But you know, he's got a good heart. He does. But he's complicated.
Yes, the classic Kanye "I love Hitler" West thing he actually said. Oh boy, AOC.
Fake, but
Very well known.
But she knows it. She's got a thing going. It's a good.
Very
thing.
well known
She's a
politician.
good thing for her. But there's a certain something she's got. She's got a spark. That's pretty amazing, actually. She's got a good spark. So,
That's actually wild to hear Trump like begrudgingly admit the crush that he has, and most right wingers have on AOC. Obviously, for them, it's less crush and more like weird fucking rape fantasy obsession or some shit like that. They've gotten up to some truly bizarre shit with AOC in the past. You know, there's been a lot of discourse about that online, but I'm interested that Trump has like sort of been more is more restrained in this respect, commenting on AOC. He might I don't know. It's actually possible that Trump is not as insane as the base that he's cultivated, because Trump mostly just cares about what's good for Trump, right? He's like, the ratings are good. I care about the ratings. The numbers are phenomenal. Great numbers. Great ratings. I love the ratings. You know? Which is honestly a way more normal thing to care about than 99% of the Republican base.
I'll change it. I'll say spark. She does have. It's you know, when she was running against a gentleman from Queens, and I asked his people. I said, "Are you careful? This guy was going to be Speaker of the House. It was going to be him, not Nancy Pelosi." And Joe
Crowley,
he's
yeah,
a good politician, a real pro, been around for a long time, many years in Congress. And I watched her on television one time. I saw a clip of her speaking, ranting, raving, going crazy. And I said, who's she running against? She's running against Joe. I said, oh, does he know what's going on? Oh, he's got no problem, sir. He's got no problem. I said, is he doing any debates? No, he doesn't have to bother with the debates. He's been there for years. Tell him I said that he should be careful. Because I saw her. And I said, she's...
Oh yeah, it is worth mentioning that Joe Crowley was like a quote-unquote moderate Democrat, which functionally means that he was like he was a conservative.
But she's got a lot of sizzle.
And upset primary election victory, and she's been really popular ever since.
I know him probably better.
President G, Comrade G.
Got to know him extremely
Very
well.
true.
We had a great relationship until COVID. COVID was a step too far. But we did very well with China. President Xi. We did very, very well with China. Took in hundreds of billions of dollars. No president took in 10 cents. I took in. And I exposed China. Look,
Couldn't do that shortcut there.
They can't take it. Years and years, we lose $500 billion a year. But then COVID came in, and it really, I changed, but I will have a very good relationship. There's no going to war with him. He doesn't want to go to war. We're not going to go to war. And we had a very good relationship, actually. He was right in this room. He came to this country, and he stayed here for days. And we had incredible meetings, a very famous meeting in the dining room.
I guess maybe they've kind of dropped the
He's very
whole
strong and very powerful and
one word
very interesting.
thing.
He really does love his
That
country.
was wacky amount of air.
Gavin Newscomb. You spelled it? No, you spelled his last name.
Gavin News
Literally
come.
California. Beautiful
Many
state.
such
California's
cases.
beautiful. You ruined it.
And when you watch him, he's always saying, "Oh, we're doing so great."
Right.
We're not doing great. I mean, I have holdings in California, and I own a golf course right on the ocean, right on the Pacific Ocean. Palos
Oh, I know
Verdes.
that
It's so
guy.
beautiful. It's a club. It's
Yeah, Gavin Newsom is a fucking sleazeball and a scumbag.
California is so precious.
But like he's a boilerplate liberal, and that is leaps and bounds better than any Republican.
Crime is out of control.
In fact, the ways in which Gavin Newsom sucks and is a slimy bastard are ways in which he is very similar to Republicans. For example, his stance on homelessness and affordable housing. That is to say, he is a pretty blatantly pro homeowner and like anti-homeless people, not anti-homelessness. You know, he's fine with the problem of homelessness persisting. He just doesn't like homeless people, believes they're unsightly, such as the prerogative of the limousine liberal, as they used to call them. You know?
And he, you know, I think you know, it's a shame because I like him. I got along with him great. I helped him a lot with his fires. I kept saying, you know, why don't you do something about the forest? Like, there's no reason to have that. There's no management. They have no management control over the forest. I said, you have to do things. But I got along with him great, but he has not done the job. No. He has not done the job. Sad.
Let's see what we got next.
Yeah. He's turned very liberal, actually. They say he's the son of Fidel Castro, and could be. Anything's possible in this world, you know? You're going to learn.
They don't say that, actually. I'm sorry to break it to you, Chief. They don't. I only fucking wish he was Fidel Castro's son. They made that way, maybe he'd be a little bit more base instead of being a fucking liberal cringe lord who hates workers who go on strike and, you know, is very committed to putting people back to work and stripping away the welfare state or whatever remains of it.
Would win in Canada. Canada's very unhappy about the way they've been.
He's basically, Justin Trudeau is the man that Keir Starmer wishes that he was, with all of the terrible politics, but a little bit more riz.
Treated as people, but I got along with him well. Now this man, I really got along with well. We had
we know
Rocket Man. We had
we know.
Button. He said, "I have a red button on my desk," and I said, "No, I have a red button too, and mine's bigger than yours, and mine work."
That shit was funny.
It was a really bad month and a half. You know, he very very tough on President Obama. Very tough on everybody. You know, it's the hermit nation. I said to him, you know Elton John? No. I said, did you ever hear the song Rocket Man? And I actually played him the song Rocket Man. He said, no, I've never heard it. I said, you're Rocket Man. I said, no, you call me Little Rocket Man, not Rocket Man. But I tell you what, so we had a very nasty talk. People were actually worried about it. But President Obama told me that this was the single biggest problem. Kim Jong-un, North Korea.
Also, I did want to take a minute about...
people that wanted to see me about him, and he wanted to meet. He did not want to meet with Obama. He did not want to meet with anyone. Got tremendous nuclear capability. He does. Check that closely. I got to know him very well, and I got along with him great. He was very smart, very strong. Okay. He's the absolute...
First of all, I've talked about this before. Fascists love other fascists, you know. Many such cases. But then also, the lens of commenting on people, notable people in politics, is an interesting one to me, because it's sort of leaning into great man theory of history, whatever, like, oh, great things are done by great men, strong men, even. But I kind of want to, like, maybe dispel that a little bit. Just because, like, it is a good method of pedestrian political engagement. Like, you can sort of draw the associations of, like, oh, this guy's good or bad because he supports X, Y, or Z good or bad thing. But ultimately, like, who's in charge of what doesn't matter that much in terms of politics. Like, whether it's Democrat A or Democrat B, Republican A or Republican B, what matters more is the ideological affiliation. But again, this is a good way to appeal to pedestrian engagement with politics. This is like diva shit. You know, it's like drama shit. People are probably in America more aware of celebrity culture than they are of politics. So they recognize the format of a famous person who you have an opinion on. This time pertaining directly to politics than some random piece of interpersonal drama in the celebrity world that people assign moral weight. You know? So obviously, me, the historical materialist, I am significantly better than all three of these people combined, and smarter, and more handsome with more riz. Thank you. But this is like a step up from celebrity shit. Does that make sense? I mean, obviously, the manner in which they're talking about it, he's fucking glazing the dictator of North Korea, and that's not doing him any favors. I don't think, you know... you know, maybe it plays well to the base. The base is probably fine with it, but I genuinely don't think that being positive or lukewarm on Kim Jong-un is gonna, you know, do you any favors with the American public. I think most of them recognize that, you know, fascist dictatorships are bad, actually, or, you know, just dictatorships in general, if they don't draw the connection that's like fascist or whatever. Star, right? Well, let me
Peter, you know, a lot of people
unpause
say, "Oh,
this,
maybe
and I'll
not, but
chain
he's
this
the
star.
He's around. These people are standing up at attention.
Very good.
We were at a
Yeah!
we had 20 people.
I
This
dodged.
Saturday,
Let's
20
go.
people. Right. In Singapore, we had a meeting. It's the biggest press conference. Thousands.
Can I have a
Followers.
golden now? I
I've
think
never
I know
seen
where I
that.
want to use
I
this
think
too.
People said they've never seen it. I was walking in, he was walking in, we met in
Yeah,
the place just went crazy. But we got along very well. He's very, very smart. And
Whoa, okay.
he's a
That
real
was
power.
scary.
He's a real power. I think he's
Almost
upset
fell
that I'm
off
not
there.
Nothing would have happened with him. We would have gotten along with him fine. I was trying to get him to do, you know, his country, talk about location. He's right between, think of this, Russia, China, one side, and South Korea on the other. He said, you have a great piece of work.
Okay, Trump's relationship with Kim Jong-un, something I believe is worth commenting on because it was almost the key to something good. At least it could have been if it were not somebody who was ideologically fascist leaning, right? Because ultimately, the biggest reason that North Korea is so fucked is because they're isolated from the rest of the world. Partially because of their own doing, but mostly because the international community has shut them out. This isn't a case of us wanting to open them up. This is an issue of us having to open up to them, right? And if some part of the Trump administration could have partially normalized relations with North Korea, I believe that's one good step towards a path of like reconciliation that could have stabilized and ameliorated conditions in North Korea so that life would be better there. So at least not as shit as it is right now. But Trump wasn't really interested in that, and people in his administration weren't really interested in that. Trump's administration was full of fascist-leaning people, but largely neoconservatives and like American chauvinists, right? Who just mostly parroted the old line about North Korea being public enemy number one or whatever, and were sort of committed to keeping it shut out. And what Trump was interested in was just befriending a strongman dictator. So, you know, kind of missed the mark. 0 for 2 on that front. But in a different administration, like if Obama had gone over there, started applying a little bit of a bit of pressure, but like made it clear that he was there to establish a more friendly relationship, then maybe some headway could have been made.
You could make so much. You could have gorgeous things. I said to him, think about gorgeous.
Or
condo
Biden or
buildings.
some, you know, any other president really.
Ocean, got ocean frontage on both sides. But I got along with him great. We would have had no problem with him. Now he's getting very angry with us, and he's getting very angry with. I understand he doesn't like her. He doesn't know her, but he forms an opinion. Doesn't like her, and he thought that Biden was a stupid man, a very stupid man. He would say that, but I say the same thing, so at least we agree on something. But Biden is. They really have hurt our country. People have hurt our country. Kim Jong-un was great for as long as he was there. As long as I was there, there was going to be no problem. That I can tell you. We met in Singapore. I got to know him so well.
And even here, Trump is kind of trying to have it both ways. He's trying to both come off as like, I'm, you know, oppositional to this guy, but also he's great. I love him. We're great friends, you know.
The same thing. I always say if you have a smart president, you don't have a problem. But you still will have a problem with the inside because these people are sick. They're sick. And the people from the inside, I mean, they're willing to take down our country.
That's true. I am, in fact, sick with it. Thank you for noticing.
He's such a bad guy, such a liar with the Russia hoax. It was a total hoax. It went on for 2.5 years.
It was, you see, it was so nice I had to say it thrice. Russia, Russia, Russia. You know, I love it so much.
And total exoneration, nothing to do with Russia. The opposite. I was the worst thing that ever happened to Russia because I stopped the pipeline, the Russia pipeline, called Nord Stream 2. Nobody ever heard of Nord Stream 2. But, you know, it was just 2 years of stuff. And actually putting our country in danger. because you put the country in danger with another country. But getting
Got
along with
3
these
people
people
with
is
my
really,
bananas.
getting along with the foreign leaders. If you're smart, our country is safe. If you're stupid, and that's the
See,
problem,
here's one of those failures of foreign analysis.
Right now, I'm hearing there's going to be an attack tonight by Iran. Of Israel. They're going to be attacked tonight. I'm telling you right now. I hear it just.
This is one of the failures of great man theory analysis, is that Trump views this as a and it like this isn't just a Trump thing. This is everybody who mostly goes to great man theory. He views this as a matter of befriending foreign leaders, like being on good terms with the leaders of those countries. It's a lot more. There's a lot more to it than that. You know, it's a lot more about, you know, relating to the structures in those countries. You do that through communicating with the leaders, you know, via diplomacy and whatnot. But ultimately, you don't just befriend leaders to befriend them, right? It's as crass as it sounds, it's a means to an end, such that each country can get something out of it. That's sort of how the nation state form works. You know, it's like each president is there as a representative of their respective country's interests. And by interests, I mean mostly business interests. You know, so when I say that we should normalize our relationship with North Korea, with Iran, do I say that because I like the Ayatollah or Kim Jong-un? No. I say that because I know that the outcomes for the people in those countries would be better, irrespective of who the leader is, if we had a more normal relationship with them, if things were a little bit less dicey.
Through the same waves, there's no top secret information.
And that's a materialist
be
analysis, because America has a lot of power and influence to you know, sway certain paths of trade and investment that would or wouldn't benefit certain people or certain countries, certain groups.
If I were president, nobody would even be talking about that word, because it wouldn't happen 100%. And it's so, but when you have Pelosi and when you have Schiff, and you have all these people, I mean,
Those family too.
when you
I
have,
really like this one.
people like Schumer, you have all these people. These people are a danger to our country. And they get a guy like Biden, and he's just a vessel. He has no idea where the hell he is. He's their perfect vessel, because he'll do anything that they want him to do. So we really have dangerous people. They go after their political opponent, like me. I mean, me being especially. And they've used law enforcement to go after me. They've come at me with everything. We just won the big case in Florida. That was the big case. That was the biggest of the cases. And we won that conclusively. We had a brilliant and very fair judge. I mean, you know, if I have fair judges, I win every case. But they put you in cases where the judges are totally corrupt, where, like in New York, where the whole legal system,
You know, it's interesting.
bringing down the state.
You know, Trump has always been the whole, like, my political, my enemies are trying to persecute me. They're a danger to the country. Because like there's a little charade at the RNC where he tried to be like the unity candidate for like 5 minutes or something, and then he just like went right back to this shit. So to me, it's kind of funny, but you know, and I probably deserve that. That's green shell.
And bringing down the city because the corruption's so bad. But we have to solve the problem from within. The problem on the outside, you have somebody smart, you can handle it easily, actually. But the problem from within, we have people that truly hate our country. We have to solve that problem.
The enemy within.
Get this right with what I'm about to say, because you had said something.
The enemy at the gates. The enemy within.
People. And,
The traitors to our country.
So I'm pulling up my phone. You know, the same.
It's not an explicitly fascist thing always, but fascists do tend to talk about like the enemy at the gates, the enemy within, or whatever. There's a lot of mysticism and narrativizing of like every political thing that fascists do. Like it all has to be subsumed by one narrative. Usually things are more complicated. If that even assumes that the fascists talk about anything real at all. They could just be waffling like Trump probably is right now.
DA, you know, Fannie Willis.
Right, Fannie Willis.
She treated you very unfairly.
She goes by the name of Fannie, even though it's F-A-N-I. She wants to pronounce Fannie. Little French, little French accent, and her lover,
A little bit fruity.
Right?
Yeah.
Mr. and
Many
Mrs.
such
Wade.
cases.
Would you say she's very unfair?
Well, not only to me, there are many people. She wanted to indict a couple of senators. Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
She wanted to indict politicians. Stop making me like this woman,
Georgia's
dude.
phenomenal. Georgia's great. I love the people of Georgia. They've done great with the people of Georgia.
Yeah.
Alabama, South Carolina, North Carolina. But Georgia is so good, and she's destroying it, and the governor should do something about it because, look, these are innocent
Well, would
these
you
are
look at that? I'm in
patriots.
first.
So I know Fannie Willis treated you very unfair. I have a friend who's currently being treated unfair by her. He's a rapper named Young Thug.
Yeah.
And I was
I
just,
heard that.
yeah, I just
Boy.
this way that we can make sure you get treated fair. That's all.
Aiden
So I
Ross
heard
has some
about it,
very
and I heard he's
sussy
been treated
friends.
very
I'll
unfairly
be
by
real.
her, and I would tell her he's got to treat these patriots that are being all terrible. They're going after him. And I hear Young Thug is being treated. I heard the name.
Yeah.
I heard it from other people where they say he's being treated very unfairly.
Very unfair.
So he's got to be treated fairly.
Please.
I'm gonna get blue shelled for sure.
So,
Also, I don't know who Young Thug is. Probably some white rapper that said the N-word and now conservatives love him or something. I don't know.
He was very good with me because when they were
Volodymyr
doing the Russia
Zelensky.
hoax,
Ah,
they said I did something with him on a phone call, and basically I congratulated his winning the presidency, and said some other things which turned out to be perfect, better than perfect. If he says
better
anything
than
wrong,
perfect.
please
That's true.
report it to the
They had to
Attorney
invent
General,
perfect
which
too for
we
how
have an
good this
agreement
phone
with
call
the
went.
country. We have a signed.
The controversy around Trump and Volodymyr Zelensky is that when he was newly elected, Trump tried to basically threaten him. That like, oh, you had better remove this prosecutor or something, or like, I don't remember what exactly it was, but it was like, oh, you better either remove or not remove some sort of government official because it benefits me. Otherwise, we won't give you aid money. He's basically like blackmailing him. That was the controversy, but you know, that's like small peanuts in relation to a lot of other things Trump has done.
Contract with them, a very important one, that because Ukraine has always been known as very corrupt. I don't know if you know that. It has been a very corrupt country. I think the people are great, but it's been very corrupt. And I said, if you find any corruption in the country, you should report it immediately to the Attorney General. I did say that, and it was a very good thing to say. It turned out I was 100% right in saying it. So they made up a phone call.
Bro, Hawk Tua
Fortunately,
is in the
phone
room.
was essentially taped.
Everybody should Hawk Tua the polls. I couldn't help myself. I remembered that god-awful joke. Pokemon, go to the polls. And, you know, Hawk Tua. Hawk Tua the polls. Spit on that thing. And cast your ballot. Alright, I'll stop.
The call was essentially taped. I didn't know this, but a lot of times when you're talking foreign leaders, they have tapes. Or they have stenographers. And we had two professional, really
Bro, it's actually so funny that Trump didn't know the call was being recorded in any fashion.
great military stenographers. So
Like, you gotta be
everyone-
next
so when
level
they said
stupid to not
it,
think about that one. Like, you're
and then I
you're
said,
fucking
"Is that
presidents
tape
of two,
or
like,
is it answered?"
pretty big
They got
countries.
all the way down the line to impeach me. They wanted to impeach me over this phone call, single phone call. And I knew that I had him because
Excuse
I had
me?
the tape with the stenographers. Everything perfect. Every word was said. And then they did the impeachment. And just before that, because I remember Nancy Pelosi was crazy, we can't impeach him. Look at what the phone call was. She saw the phone call.
Yeah.
And then they decided, well, let's do it anyway. Can you believe how bad these were?
Cool.
Let's do it anyway, because they had the phone call.
Yeah.
That's where Tim Scott, great guy from senator from South Carolina, he said, wait a minute, I've just read the phone call. That phone call was, he was the first one to speak up. Tim Scott.
Ah,
of South
yes,
Carolina.
Tim
Then
Scott.
Republicans
Definitely
started
the
to
first
come up. And
person
they
I
were-
go
you
to
know,
for
he
an
was
opinion
great,
about
Of
anything.
course, the only one
The
who's
fucking
Robert
most
Real Stiff,
pick-me
Real Stiff, and he couldn't get elected dog catcher right
Guy
now.
in the Republican
Although-
Party.
He actually voted. He actually only took a half a vote away, but everybody else voted for me 100%.
It's like the one black
unanimously.
guy that Republicans can
And it
find
was fun.
to try to prove they're
What
not
they did
racist.
was they made
You
up
know?
the call, and then when they found out that I had it essentially on tape, they looked really bad, and they had a decision to make. Do they pull it? I said, no, we shouldn't be doing this, but let's go ahead with it. I did nothing. So you have to be careful. So let me just say about him. So
Yeah.
when they called him and they asked him, did President Trump say anything that was inappropriate or wrong? He said, absolutely
petty?
not. It was a very nice thing. There's nothing unusual about it at all. And he could have grandstanded. He could have said that. And he didn't say that.
Isn't
So
it
I
the
was-
same shit that he
I think
talked
I would
about
be able
with
to make a deal him
Elon? It's
and
just the same
Vladimir
thing.
Putin very quickly.
Right.
Even though it would have been a lot easier. Of course, and you wouldn't have 500,000 people, or maybe much more than that. I think you're going to find that the number of people dead is far greater than what this. That's a really nasty. It's a nasty thing going on over there. But I think I will be able to get him and Putin together, and we'll get it ended. It would have never started if I were president. It had no chance of starting. You know, I knew
Got him.
Putin very well,
Yeah.
know him very well, and it was the apple of his eye. Ukraine was the apple of his eye. He did love it. He did want
Dude,
it.
he's saying the actual same words that he said in the
knew he could do it.
Elon
He
Musk
never done it
conversation
And now
interview
when you look
thing.
at all of the death and all of the destruction, even of their culture, because those cities are wiped
Crazy.
down. You know, most
It's
of the-
just a stump
outside of
speech.
Kiev, most of those cities are wiped down to the ground, and it's so sad. And when those buildings come down, there are plenty of people in there. You know, people think those buildings don't have people. They have a lot of people in those buildings that don't want to leave. And those buildings come down. They're big buildings, big heavy buildings.
I'm not
They
even
come down,
bothering to like
and
pause to
people
mention
crush
anything
them.
because this is all
Instantly
boring
crush
shit that
them.
we've heard a
Missiles
million
hit them.
times. Just enjoy the gameplay, I
Just real
guess.
quick on the inflation thing. So, you know, I know.
Yay, Sherbetland. Proving that I was in fact a member of MKR, thank you.
Help with that. You know,
However
you're
briefly.
somewhat like bold. Do you think that, you know, if when you get back in office, you would still fully support crypto? And you know, I just saw that the U.S. government, ever since you spoke about it, they're selling crypto. They're selling it. So what would you do if you were in office with crypto?
It's something they should
Bro, who
be
the
doing
fuck cares
because they
about
should
crypto?
be
It's just the
trying to
stock
build
market,
it.
but dumber.
So if we
and
don't
worse.
do it, China's doing it.
And more
other
full
places
of like
are doing it,
sweaty,
and they're doing it
greasy
everywhere.
nerds.
And
Or not
it's
nerds,
a
actually.
very modern
Nerds,
currency.
way more
It's a very
respectable
modern
than the
form.
fucking people who invest in
And I know a
crypto.
lot of very good people that are really into that world.
Sweaty,
They're
greasy
smart,
tech
they're
bros.
smart,
There
they're
you
good
go.
people,
No,
and I
that's
think
the
it's going
type.
to be very beneficial. And remember this, though, it's very important. It's like AI. Do you love it? Do you not like it? If we don't do it, China's going to do it.
There's,
Or other
uh,
people are
Yeah,
going to do it.
yeah.
And we can't be left behind. And
Good at
crypto
the
is
end.
right in
I think he
that sphere.
sniffs the chair.
And
I'm not
it
mistaken.
is a form of currency. And again, China's already doing it. But if we don't do it, they're going to do it. AI is something that's really at the top of the list.
Yeah.
And there are pros and cons to everything. But China is trying to do everything.
Yeah.
And we've got to beat them to the punch.
I would love to
I
see
don't
you,
know.
you know, get together and talk about AI together.
I don't know what he's talking about, and frankly, I don't think he does either. So
Obviously, you guys can really come together.
that's what you got.
Find
He
some
is
solutions right now, 'cause it is getting
waffling.
out of hand. You see a bunch of fake stuff. It's
Yeah.
it's
He's
really
talking
getting
about-
crazy.
It's, you know, one thing about AI that's interesting is, and
Dude, it's kind of crazy how quick like AI just became ubiquitously panned by everybody except for fucking niche tech bro types. Like even fascists who ordinarily idolize AI for like its the fucking mysticism and you know for its ability to produce child porn, something that AI companies have actually gotten into some hot water over. Now they're like, okay, well, it's like at the very least it's more politically effective for us to be more anti-AI because it's like, I don't know, creating a bunch of fake stuff and whatnot. I know. Fucked up. I almost got him with that, huh?
who would believe this? To really be at the top of it,
Would've been
to
fun.
dominate, because China's very much artificial intelligence.
Yeah, yeah.
Even the name is sort of a weird name. Artificial intelligence sounds like it's not really a very good name when you think about it. It's
No, it's
artificial.
not. Yeah.
It says like fake intelligence, right? But regardless, so you need massive amounts of electricity to be able to compete. Did you know that? Electricity.
Yeah.
And if you don't build
Oh, shit.
twice the amount of electricity that the country currently has, now think of that number. You need
Trump talking
more
about something
electricity
real for
than
once?
The country has for everything times 2. Now think. So nobody's going to be able to get that done but me. I'm the only one because you're going to have to build power plants at every plant. You're going to have a power plant for
Yeah.
every plant. It's all electricity based. It's amazing. You need massive amounts of electricity. And
You know, it's funny. Trump is mentioning a very real problem with AI, which is just that fundamentally what AI does is things that we were already perfectly capable of doing and had no trouble doing, but worse and at a much higher electricity consumption cost, right? Like that's what AI is good for. And it's currently contributing or has been contributing to an energy crisis whereby, like Trump said, the current energy infrastructure is not enough for companies that are like hyping up AI projects and stuff like that, to such an extent that a lot of companies are sabotaging their own climate objectives. And then Trump is like, but it's great, and when I'm president, we'll build all the electricity. We'll be able to build all the electricity to get those AI plants up and running. It's going to be beautiful. It'll be great. We'll have the most AI, the best, the strongest AI. We'll have the electricity for it, all because I'm in charge. You know, like that's the framing he's adopting, is because he's just like, basically it's like the AI version of I just hope both teams have fun. You know, fucking yeah. But it like I wouldn't even really consider this a W because it is not hard to recognize the risk of or not even the risk, the fucking drawbacks of having AI related anything. You know, Google's gotten a million times worse because of the AI search feature. Fucking, like I said, the power consumption is just the one major killer above all else, is that it's like dragging down the global power infrastructure when there's absolutely no need for it. And so for that, it should be regulated rather than built up to be the best, the strongest the world's ever seen.
In the meantime, they built 8 chargers in the Middle West for cars because we shouldn't have
The Middle West, many such
all
cases.
electric. You know, they have this electric car mandate.
Me, when
and
I
they don't go far
definitely know
because
my
they're
American
in China.
terminology and what, you know,
And
the Midwest
under Biden,
is.
He wants everybody to drive electric cars. No more gas-propelled cars, no more hybrids, no more anything. Think of it, how crazy. And you can drive a car from here to Los Angeles on a tank of gas. Same thing with trucks. They want trucks to go electric. They'd have to make 6 stops to get to Los Angeles. With diesel, they don't have to make any stops, and they have left over. And the truck gets lighter as you go. You know, one of the problems with that is the weight. The weight of the battery
Oh, you hit
is
the
so
wall.
heavy. It's 2.5 times heavier than a truck without, with diesel. And you would have to rebuild all of your bridges all throughout the country. And I asked the trucking industry supports me because of this. I mean, they probably
Trucking
would like
industry,
to
not the
support
trucking
me
workers.
because they're not going to have an industry. I said, when you explain that you're going to have to rebuild all of your bridges in the country, when you explain,
You know,
that
plenty of
the government
industries
officials are
support
coming to
Trump.
harass you,
Like I said,
they'll
businesses
say,
are
"Oh,
very
I see. Well, then it doesn't work."
right-leaning.
It doesn't work. When you explain to them that you have to stop,
But unions
6
are not.
times for 4 hours of stop, and you talk about a supply chain. But I said, when you explain that to people, just tell me, do they say, "Oh, then we can't really do it"? You know, makes sense. We can't do
course,
it.
yeah.
It's all right. You could have a child go into a meeting, and within 1 minute or 2 minutes, they would convince you that it doesn't. Maybe sometime, but I think it's essentially never going to work. In my opinion, it'll never work because you're always going to have a weight problem. You're always going to have. It's never going to be the same kind of a thing where you can drive for 2 days without stopping.
Correct.
It's just not going to happen. And I said, what do they say when you go in and explain this? They don't care. They say, we don't care.
Good thing I
We
held
want
that
you to go
mushroom.
Electric. And one gentleman, biggest guy in the business, said to me, all my life I've been buying trucks. 50 years I've been buying trucks.
I don't know what he's
Every year they
waffling
get
about. He's
better,
talking about
bigger,
trucks.
Stronger, more beautiful.
This is true. You know what? This is the most live streamer that Trump has ever been. He's rambling about trucks, and there's a picture of Volodymyr Zelensky, completely unrelated, on the screen. Beautiful. Critical support. I still hate Trump and everything that he stands for, but he is funny, and he's embracing the live streamer vibes right now.
Every year for 50 years, they became more efficient, more fuel efficient, better pollution control, everything. And if they make us do that, we'll go back 50 years, more than that. He said a truck 50 years ago would have been better than what they're making us use right now. And I say, when you explain that, do they do anything? They sit there, they look, and they say, we don't care. That's our mandate. You have to go all electric. These people are going to destroy our country. We can't let them do it.
Horrible, horrible.
I
know you're very busy. It's already.
I actually don't know what he's talking about. These, again, nothing real here. This is not a real subject of political conversation. This is not like a real position that anybody holds or is seriously discussing in policymaking circles.
2:15. How much time would you say we have? Because I do want to give you this last gift.
Well, let's go do the last gift.
Let's go do it. Let's go do it.
So far, I like the gift you gave me.
Yeah, well, you're like this other one too. Hold on 1 second here. Whoops. I actually closed that out. Let me go full screen real quick. You go full screen on the OBS, and then you should have the live view or the IRL.
Okay, they're gonna get up now and do something. I see.
Really, day one. I love her. Yes. Can I do that?
Yeah, of course.
Can I? Come on, let's get
I'll take it. I got you guys.
You stay right there. We're gonna take a good one.
I'll take a great one. I got the good one.
I'll bet she does. She's probably tougher than I am. Have a good time, everybody. See you.
Yeah. So what's your good side? What do you like walking on? What side do you like walking on?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, you look good on both sides. Yeah, it doesn't really matter at all. X.
Bro,
Come on outside.
blazing.
Yeah.
Dude, Trump's looks like shit, by the way. That's kind of wild.
Felix, by the way, Mr. Trump.
I don't know that shortcut.
Hey, I know, that's what I noticed. I noticed the drill. Nice to see you. Thank you. Congratulations.
All right, well, you can already see the gift.
Yeah, I can. Wow.
You can't miss it.
That's an Elon.
It is an Elon.
Wow.
Shout out to Mr. Musk.
Oh, Trump is he's disappointed.
I'm gonna close the door really quick. Just I want to show
What the fuck? XQC is there?
Check out this rapper. Let me know.
Oh yeah, I vaguely remember this. Oh, it's a Cybertruck. Oof. Dude, the cringe is real. Look, I'm not a car guy, but Cybertrucks are so fucking badly engineered, dude. Look, I probably know more about cars than most people who, like, aren't car people because I worked in, like, collision repair for a little bit. Or like, I took a class and did, like, an internship there in high school. But holy shit. The fucking... Cybertrucks are so bad, and you just got a custom skin Cybertruck. Oof.
I think it's incredible. I think it's incredible.
Go to the front.
So you know what they did? AI. What Google did is they took, or they let it happen. See the Secret Service?
He's talking about Google again. What the fuck?
They put smiles on their face.
Right.
You heard about that?
Yeah, no.
That's just terrible.
Yeah, I know. But that's how easy it is to
What?
manipulate everything.
It's a little bit scary.
Yeah, it is. It's very scary. We need like a system where we can quickly fact check things.
Yeah, Alex, this time for 800 top 10 things that never happened. Also, the fuck are they talking about?
Real and authentic.
Yeah, and right now they don't have that.
No, they don't.
That's the problem.
So I know we're not gonna drive anywhere, but I was wondering if you wanted to like listen to like a song in here.
Let's go.
All right, cool. This is how you open it up.
It is incredible.
Yeah, it is. I'll get on the other side.
Bro. Cringe. Ah, it looks so fucking bad, dude. Oh my god.
Okay, Aiden, so.
Good? We back? We good? Oh, we're good. All right. Now this is cool.
It's very good.
I've never even seen you in a car before.
Not too many. Look at the playlist. Huh?
This is your playlist.
It's a good, yeah.
The team picked out.
Yeah.
You want to pick a song? Let's test out this
So
sound
let's
system.
try it. And you know, some of the artists I like better than others, but I like the other song better. So I always.
Who's like your top 3 artists?
Well, we love Frank Sinatra, right?
Of course.
And, you know, there's a couple that I really like, but I don't like the people, so I don't want to really mention their name. But look at this.
Of course he likes Frank Sinatra. The guy was fucking racist as
R&B is
hell.
always good.
Come on, they're the best.
Rolling Stones are always good.
Choose one. Let's
Look at that.
you,
So
you
let's
go
do-
choose what you like to choose. You swipe like this.
Oh yeah, that's fantastic. Right? How about, and we like the Beach Boys.
It is kind of funny that Adin Ross is acting like an overexcited kid who's hanging out with his grandpa or something.
Thinking that it's going to come back under proper management.
Also, Adin Ross and XQC both do this. They talk way fucking faster than they think. I know this because both of them are retards. But he's like, bro is speaking at a fucking mile a minute, dude. You know, he's saying shit immediately as it pops into his head. Man is very out of pocket. Ow. Why did you do that, Bowser? I wasn't gonna challenge first. This is Bowser Castle 3. Shit ton of blue shells happen on this course. Alright, let's continue.
How about California Dreaming?
Let's do it.
Are you again, dude? Why?
All right, yo, let's see how good the system is. I want to say this is by far the best selection I've done. I want to say thank you.
Well,
And
Bowser, you fucking suck. You're making my job harder.
I want to.
Oh, this is the dance part? The part where they do the cringe-ass dance that nobody...
You were right. You called it right before. What did you? You called me in the room and you said, "Watch, we're gonna have the most hits ever."
I
Watch.
think you will. And do you know what the hits are yet? Do you know?
Should I do it for the
No.
content?
I want to.
When will you know?
We crashed multiple times.
I think you'll play it.
I think we're gonna see it. I'm gonna get all the analytics, the real live view count, everything.
Well, you'll never know, but I
Nice.
think you'll have to-
Made the shortcut.
You don't know.
Now, it was with a shroom,
I
but
know. And I hated it when YouTube took them down.
that was me. That was my own fault.
Million hits in like an hour, and then they were taken down. And I told them they'd be taken down.
And they still left it up.
They were
Right.
great. No, they left. But I said YouTube or whoever it was took them.
Bro, what the fuck is happening?
And I said, so let me ask you, if that happens, are you going to fold? They said, nope. And they never did. But they were taken down. But they had 7
Get outta here.
That's crazy. I just seen somebody said with all the pages, you know, all the pages, all the people live rewatching us.
Right.
Hell, dude.
We hit over 1 million live. which is
You're
amazing.
going to have a lot.
Yeah.
I hope you're going to break your record by a lot, and I think you will, for whatever reason. I mean, I won't get into that, but for whatever reason, people seem to like watching. I will say it's an honor to be with you, too.
KD Jungle, a very heartfelt fuck you for making my job harder this race. You did not have to throw those 2 green shells. There was no way I was overtaking you. I am on mock bike, and I don't want to challenge first in that position. Learn to fucking read the race.
Elvis? No, Don't. It's a great song.
They're gonna listen to a song now, I guess. They've been about to listen to a song for like several minutes.
Let it fly.
But they, oh, I scrolled over by accident.
The outro. I mean,
We spent fucking forever trying to figure that out.
I have no idea what it means. And all it's going to do is be good for China the other way. We're going to save TikTok. They want to destroy TikTok. So all the people on TikTok.
DK son.
vote for Trump. An amazing stream. W's in the chat. Any last word? Live stream. End the stream.
I want to make sure you break your record. If you don't break your record,
Classic. All the stream difficulties right at the end.
We can end that.
Beautiful. Nice. Okay. So what do I take from that? Not gonna lie. It was pretty fucking boring. For most of it. Trump gave the same stump speech. You know, obviously, like, the reason I say stump speech, this is like a thing in politics. When you're at a rally and you're like, looking to galvanize the base, usually you go to the same few things, like, repeatedly. But holy shit, Trump, like, went to the same things over and over and over and over again. It's like, you know, it just got really boring. The man does not have the kind of riz that he used to, I think. And also, I don't know, Adin Ross is a fucking weenie weirdo or some shit like that. I don't know if they got the part where they, like, I don't know if they recorded the part where he sniffed Donald Trump's chair after the thing was done. Ow. Everybody's doing the double. I guess I'll defer to what I said at the beginning. That, like, yeah, this kind of reaffirms my position. This interview was, like, really a fucking desperation move, if anything, you know? Like, Trump had to be really fucking desperate to consider some shit like this, you know? Nice. I somehow avoided that. That was good. Oh, that was a perfect ending section. Yeah, no, that's it, really. Really fucking desperate move for him to agree to an interview like this. And, like, when you're going to kick.tv to try to rile up the base, I feel like this shit is really, really not working. You know? And the fact that Trump was so boring throughout it, just saying the same shit over and over again, just like the interview that he did with Elon Musk on Twitter Spaces, I think it's pretty damn indicative of the sorry state that the Trump campaign is in right now. This is one of the only like campaign events he's done recently too. Like, he hasn't been that active. It's been that and then the Twitter interview, both of which were like, I mean, this was not disastrous on a technical level. Everything went more or less pretty smoothly. But, like, it was just the same drivel over and over again. He didn't make sense half the time. You know. Unless my bias get too far ahead of me, I want to point out something that I've said earlier. Interviews like this have the ability to cost Trump support. Maybe just in small part. But they have the ability to cost Trump support or to make him go, like, 50-50 or even. They don't really have the ability to gain any support for Donald Trump. The interview with Adin Ross, the interview with Elon Musk, whatever it was, right? And, you know, this rhetoric is pretty worn out. You even saw there was various points where Trump had to go back and invoke economics, like economic talking points, because a lot of people really aren't sold on the like fascist narratives of immigrants destroying America. Like, for people who might be on the fence, that the people that would need to be activated or convinced or anything, the Republican rhetoric really turns them off. And it's not like the Trump base can get any more active than they currently are. It's a cult. They can only lose steam at this point. So, you know, another W. It was also very funny. You know, Adin Ross, known fart sniffer, chair sniffer, and shit like that. Definitely not gay for Andrew Tate, except he totally is. You know, truly an intellectual titan of our age. Interviewing Donald Trump about fucking who knows what. And I feel like maybe I'm a little bit stupider for it. I don't know, maybe I'm smarter because I've cultivated an ability to weather the storm for segments, streams like this. Either way, this does bode well, I think, for people who are not fascists. And that's good. You know, it bodes well for people whose interests do not align with fascists. And, you know, we love to see Trump kind of floundering on the campaign trail. So I guess that's my takeaway. Trump floundering, turning to the likes of Adin Ross and Elon Musk for relevance. These are the mark of kind of somebody who's falling off in terms of relevance, who doesn't have the risk to stay in the game of politics anymore. Because a lot of the mainstream news outlets won't take Trump anymore. He's, you know, for some of them, he's a ratings killer. For some of them, they just don't want to have him on and shit like that. You know, Trump used to call into Fox News all the time. Now they don't do that anymore. He's been going on more and more obscure media venues to espouse his talking points, which are the same every time. He might as well just do a Trump rally. It's kind of, you know what? It's kind of like he's just phoning it in. And that's, funnily enough, that's the same critique I had of the Democrats prior to Kamala Harris and Tim Walz taking the reins here of this campaign, is that the Democrats seemed content to just kind of phone it in, and they didn't care too much. And that kind of seems like what's going on with Trump right now. It almost seems like he's just running for the sake of it. Like, it's just sort of the business as usual for him. And you know, he's like, this is the new grift. This is just the new business model. He doesn't really care that much about anything. Like, you know, I've said before, to the extent that Trump does have an ideology, he's closely aligned with Nazis and is definitely a fascist. But at the end of the day, if being a fascist doesn't get him ahead in the world as much as he could really, then he would stop doing it. But he's found his grift, he's found his niche, and he is exploiting it as much as he can. That's probably about all the cutting political commentary I can offer. Folks on YouTube, thank you so much for watching. Folks on Twitch, thank you so much also for watching, for tuning in. Thanks to the folks that follow me. If you want more riveting content like this, where I play Mario Kart and try to avoid getting brain damage from whatever else I'm fucking doing or talking about, then you know, you should come back, and I will see you guys next time. I'm gonna stop streaming now. It's late.